Welcome to part 10 of What If Naruto Awakens a Chakra Molding Bloodline and Gets Harem with Fem Haku. Don't forget to like and subscribe as it motivates me to upload more videos in the future, and as always link to the fanfiction is in the description. Chapter 73. Orochimaru's Lab. Sasuke calmly walks over to the tube, staring at the body kept inside of it. Then without a moment of hesitation he slashes through the glass, causing the fluid to drain out from the large gash. Cough, cough. So why am I being brought out of this damn place this time? The man mutters before looking out the chamber at Sasuke and gained a wide smirk showing of his shark-like teeth. So, it's the snake's favorite toy. The man tells Sasuke, who glares at him. Orochimaru is dead. I killed him myself. Now Suigetsu, I want you to join my team. Sasuke tells him calmly. Tisk, that bastard isn't any easy one to kill. You never know if he might rear his scaly head back up. Suigetsu says, not truly caring. Now why should I follow you? After all, you are part of the group that have been experimenting on me for all this time. Suigetsu tells Sasuke, not trusting him. Though all he got back was an uncaring look. I am collecting a strong team to help me achieve my own goals. If you wish to bring your goals into reality, then you will support me. If not, I will have one of the researchers here put you in one of the other tubes where you can stay trapped till death. Sasuke tells him without any expressions. Choose. Tch, this damn cocky bastard. I really want to tell him to take this offer and shove it up his ass, but with those damn eyes of his I doubt I will be able to escape. After all, he is well aware of my ability's weakness. Suigetsu thinks, annoyed. Tck, fine, I will follow you, but on one condition. I want to collect the swords of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. If you get in my way, I'll kill you without hesitation. Suigetsu ends up telling Sasuke, not wanting to save some face. Fine. Now follow me, we have a few other members to collect. Sasuke tells him, not caring. He then watched as Suigetsu slowly seemed to flow out of the gash he created. The man then formed back as his normal self after the last bit of fluid came out of the chamber. Ah, it feels good to be free. Now I just need to find a proper sword to use. Suigetsu says with a smirk, stretching out a bit. Sasuke said nothing as a reply and simply kept walking out of the base. Plus half hour later. Oi, why the hell are we in this backwater town? Suigetsu asked, looking around at the buildings. I need you to be useful to my cause. So, I am letting you have the Kubikiribocho. Sasuke tells him, simply walking to where he knew it was being used as a grave marker. A grave marker? What kind of idiot would use such a legendary sword as a damn grave marker? Suigetsu asked. Though Sasuke didn't reply and instead continued to walk to where he knew the graves were set up. Sadly, when they got to them, instead of seeing the easily recognizable blade, there only was 2 mounds. So where's the blade? Suigetsu asked, a bit annoyed, while Sasuke just looked at the spot with a neutral stare. Hey! They both heard a voice call to them and saw a random villager walking up to them. Is this your friend's grave? I am sorry to tell ya, but some rich guy had the nerve to defile this grave about a month ago. From what I heard, he had a group of armed men bring the blade to his house so that no one was able to stop him. I still feel bad for the poor souls that are buried here. The villager told them, annoyed, before finally walking away to do whatever he needed to do. Well, that explains what happened to it. I guess we'll have to visit this guy, huh? Suigetsu said with a vicious smirk. Konoha. What am I going to do now? Miki mutters, completely devastated. After getting so far in the search to get her necklace back, she had so much hope that it would happen. But just as they finally found where it went, the finish line was taken right from her. Now all she felt like doing was cry as tears quickly formed. Naruto simply stood there watching as the girls tried to comfort their friend, even though he could clearly see the disappointment on their faces as well. Sigh. Well, I didn't want to go on an unpaid task like this today, and still don't. But I can't be happy with myself if I just left these girls right now. Besides, I got so far into this, I might as well finish it. Naruto thinks. Okay girls, stop being so down. I'll go get the necklace back, so just wait here. Naruto tells them with a smirk. Wait, Ayame told him before he could begin his run. I want to go with you. She told him firmly. I do too. Sakari added, determined. You are right, I can't give up now. Miki said. What? Naruto asked, surprised. Girls, you do realize that I will go much faster if I travel by myself. He tells them. Oh come on Naruto-kun, you already showed us that you can travel just as fast with us. You just need to carry us. Ayame tells him simply. But I thought you girls didn't want me to carry you. Naruto asked seeing as they made such a fuss earlier. Well, we can make an exception for this time, besides I just didn't want to be tempted to steal you from Ayame-chan, Sakari tells him with a smirk while muttering the last bit. Why do I have a feeling I am gonna regret this later? Okay girls, Naruto tells them, summoning 3 clones that crouched down in front of each girl. Hope on the clones then and let's go. Naruto told them and the girls did just that with blushes on each of their faces. Anyways, let's go get my necklace back, Mickey ordered. And with that Naruto simply nodded his and began rushing towards the village entrance. He then followed the trail to what would be the closest town, hoping that they would be heading there next. Though with his speed he wasn't too worried, seeing as he could travel much faster than a large caravan of traders. Geez, I never realized how fast you ninja actually travel, Sakari says loudly over his should, as all she could hear was wind flowing around them. Course this was due to her not being used to going anywhere near the speed a ninja could go. Hey, yeah, I guess to you civilians we are pretty fast, Naruto tells them with a smirk. He then slows down as he finally reached the town. Hey sir, did a traveling trading group pass through? Naruto asked a random man around them. No, sorry, we haven't had any traders come through for about a week now. Are those girls okay? The man tells Naruto, then points at the girls on his clones' backs. No, it may look weird, but trust me, we have to find a certain group of traders as fast as possible, and this is the fastest way for us to travel, Naruto told the guy, who looked at Naruto for a minute before finally just shrugging it off and walking away from them. I know that guy must be thinking we are the weirdest people around. Naruto thinks embarrassed but still turned around and ran back to Konoha in order to follow the next road. Sadly, yet again they didn't have luck and finally had one village left to check. Come on, go faster, we might lose them seeing as we lost so much time, Ayame ordered Naruto. I am trying, Ayame-chan, but if I go much faster I don't know if you girls will be able to handle it, but don't worry, I am confident we have enough time to catch them. I mean, how fast can they go when they have to carry all of their supplies and such? Naruto tells them. He then sniffed the air and frowned before finally coming to a stop. Hey, you tell me you are going fast and then you just stop on us. What gives, nah? Ayame began, only for Naruto to place a hand on her mouth. Shish, I smell blood in the air, you girls stay here while I check it out, Naruto tells them seriously. He then jumps into the trees and follows his nose to the source while taking care to keep hidden. As he came closer, he heard the clashes of weapons and eventually found the source. Well shit, Naruto muttered before quickly creating a clone and had it dispel to summon the ones carrying the girls. Well girls, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we finally found the traders. The bad thing is that they are currently under attack by bandits, Naruto explained to the girls. What? Then why the hell are we here? We need to go help them, Sakari tells Naruto, then preps to rush out, only for Naruto to grab her shoulder. Hold on there. I will help them. I just wanted to inform you girls so you didn't worry about being attacked. It is too dangerous for you girls to fight, Naruto tells them firmly before jumping out from the trees to join the battle. For it seemed that the traders didn't hire any actual ninja and were only relying on basic guards to protect them from a rather large group of bandits. Why the hell are there even bandits relatively close to a hidden village anyways? These fools have a death wish, Naruto muttered as he pulled out 2 kunai and joined the fight. He then began to turn the odds back in the favor of the traders now that the bandits' numbers quickly were killed off. Girls in Forest. Ayame was currently pouting, unhappy the fact that Naruto didn't trust her ability enough to let her fight. In fact, she already has tried to sneak past the blonde's clones only to be stopped yet again. Moe, stupid Naruto-kun. Part of the reason I wanted to do mission was that I wanted to show that I can take care of myself. Ayame thinks annoyed but then smirks as she thinks of a plan to do what she wants. She then smirks at Naruto and walks over to them as sexily as possible. Oh, Naru-kun, did I ever tell you how thankful I am that you were brave enough to fight all those scary men? Ayame told them, circling her finger on one of their chests. Come to think of it, we never talked about what you will get for this mission. Now what can I reward you with? She asked with a teasing smirk. She then reached to her hip and pulled her shirt up a bit, making the Naruto clone blush more. So, Naruto, please forgive me, she told him with her smirk still on her face as she quickly threw a few needles at the clone in front of her and managed to nick him enough to pop said clone. Meanwhile, the other two clones were shocked enough by her doing this that the other girls were able to quickly injure them as well. Good job, girls. Now let's go show that we aren't helpless before Naruto is able to force us back. Ayame told them and her friends smiled and charged forward. They then quickly found opponents to face and showed how their practice ended up. For while the men were stronger than them, the bandits surely were far less skilled with their weapons, leading to about an even playing field. Course Naruto saw this and couldn't help but growl. Damn it, Ayame-chan, why do you have to be so willing to put yourself into danger? Naruto thinks angrily, quickly jumping out of the main fight to create a few clones to watch over the girls. Now I need to make this fight end fast. Naruto thinks, pushing chakra through his body to chop through the enemy even faster. Plus 10 minutes later plus. Finally, after fighting for 10 minutes, Naruto finally finished the last opponent with a kunai to the heart. He then let the overused blade stay in the body it lodged, seeing as it fulfilled its job more than enough. He then looked around and quickly located his team, which were thankfully tired but seemingly unharmed. So, he quickly walked over to them with fury bubbling through his system. Damn it, Ayame, why did you do that? You know that it is way too dangerous for civilians like you to fight people like this. Naruto told the girl, waving his hand at the bodies around them. Do you girls have a death wish? Next time I do something with you, I will make sure I don't make the mistake of leaving you to your own choices if this is what you are gonna do out of the village, Naruto growled out at Ayame, who quickly became angry as well. Listen you, Ayame told Naruto, poking a finger at his chest. If you haven't noticed, we are fine. Hell, we don't have a scratch on us thanks to our skill being better than those fools. I mean, of course we can't fight like a ninja can, but we can hold our own at least. So don't you dare treat us like delicate flowers that just need to stay home. We can also protect ourselves, Ayame told him before turning around with her arms crossed in front of her chest. Ga, I have no idea why I spent so much time practicing to impress you if you were just going to be a dick, she told him, shocking Naruto. Why you did that for me? Naruto muttered, surprised. But before he could continue talking, a few of the merchants came over to them. Excuse me, kind ninja. You have our thanks for helping us. Normally we can handle the bandits that try and come after us, but apparently this group was allowed to grow to a ridiculous number. Now if you don't mind listening, I would like to ask you for a favor. The man told him, rubbing his hands together. You see, we lost several of our guards, so would you please guard us until we reach the next town? Of course you will be rewarded. The man tells Naruto, with the other merchants looking at him, clearly pleading for help. Course Naruto just shrugged his shoulders. Sure, Naruto tells them, simply, seeing as he would have to wait for them to set up to go through the jewelry anyways. He then glances over to the girls and watched as Ayame pushed them along to one of the carts that had space. I guess I really ticked her off this time, but she still just doesn't understand how dangerous a ninja's life is, Naruto thinks sadly, seeing as she clearly was trying to get away from him. I'll have to find a way to make it up for her later. Naruto thought, already disliking the cold treatment, pushing the matter of explaining the life of a ninja to a later date. But he had a job to do and currently had to focus on the caravan to make sure that they were kept safe. With that in mind, he walked with them slowly towards the next town while making sure to keep his distance from the one Ayame was on to give her space. Though before they completely left, he finished off the men the girls beat, seeing as they apparently didn't have the heart to finish them off completely. Something he was rather thankful for, seeing as killing scars you for life. Ah, we finally found them. Soon my precious heirloom will be back with me, and it's all thanks to you, Ayame-chan. Miki tells Ayame with a bright smile. You're welcome, Ayame tells her half-heartedly, something that the other two picked up on right away. Hey, what's wrong? Sakari asked her friend, who just sighed. I always wanted to show Naruto-kun that I was working hard to be someone he doesn't have to protect all the time. But come to think about it, he is right, what we did was unnecessarily risky. I mean, civilians that were trained to fight died during that fight simply by being overrun. That could have easily been us. Especially seeing as Naruto wasn't able to protect us if things went bad. He had every right to be mad at us for taking that risk, but all I did was think about My goal, and now he isn't even coming anywhere near us. Ayame explained with a frown. She then felt a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry Ayame-chan, I am sure Naruto-san is just giving you space. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to hold a grudge, especially to the girl that he loves. Miki tells her with a kind smirk. Ya don't worry. If worse comes to worse I'll just beat some sense into him for ya. Sakari tells her, holding up a fist, making Ayame laugh a bit. Thanks, you too. Ayame told them, feeling a bit better. Fu young love at its finest. The women holding the reins said, happily laughing a bit. Don't worry miss, there will always be fights in any relationship you have. You just got to make up with each other and learn from each mistake. The women tell them with a smile. And with that being said, Ayame felt even better and was determined to make up with Naruto as soon as they reached the village. Village. Thankfully after the initial battle the group really didn't run into too much trouble besides the occasional animal. So, due to this they were able to reach the village just when the sun was setting. Off finally in our next location. Now come on you lot, let's get our shops set up and get to bed. Time is money after all. The leader of the merchants told the group. With that all of the people around him began to fill the various empty stalls slowly with the cargo off various wagons. While they are doing this the leader walked over to Naruto with a smile on his face. Again thank you kind ninja for helping us out in our time of need. Please take this as a reward. The man tells Naruto, handing him a pouch with some money. No problem. Just try to keep safe. Naruto told the man, putting the pouch into his pocket without counting it. After all he helped them not only to help the girls but also simply because he felt like it was the right thing for him to do at the time. After the man left Naruto to handle his own business, so Naruto left to finally meet with the girls who currently were looking around the village. Hey girls, how are you doing? Naruto asked the girls, who smiled at him. Pretty good, just wish the jewelry salesman could put out his stock already. I want my necklace. Miki tells him. Hey, at least all we need to do is get a hotel room and wait till tomorrow morning. Sakari adds happily, and of course seeing as it was late enough, they quickly found a hotel. Yang, welcome, how may we help you? The tired man at the counter asked them. Hey, we need 2 rooms with 2 beds. Naruto told the man kindly. I'm sorry, due to a traveling merchant coming to town we have a lot of travelers from smaller towns here. Due to this we currently only have 1 2-bedroom left. The man tells them. Well, okay, we'll still take it for 1 night. Naruto tells the man, giving him a bit of cash that the man quickly took and brought out change and a key. Thank you, sir. Your room is number 6. The man tells Naruto, who nods and takes the key. Okay girls, here you go. I am sorry but one of you will have to share a bed. Naruto tells the girls, handing Sakari the key. He then turns around and begins walking back out of the building but was stopped by Ayame grabbing onto his arm. Where do you think you are going, mister? She asked Naruto, as if daring him to leave without telling her. There is only 1 room, so I was gonna go sleep in the forest. Don't worry, I have all my camping gear with me, Naruto explained. Nonsense. Ayame told Naruto with a glare and began to drag him with her. Come on you two, let's get some rest. She told the other 2, not stopping at all. Meanwhile the 2 girls just looked at each other and shrugged before following Ayame to the room. Yawn, that man is either the luckiest bastard I have ever met or is just whipped by that gal. The man at the desk mutters before focusing back on trying to not sleep through his shift. Meanwhile in the room Ayame finally stopped pulling Naruto and let him stand in front of her, simply surprised. Okay Naruto, get ready for bed and then lay on this bed, you 2 use the other bed. Ayame ordered. An order that the girls quickly complied with and dropped their weapons before crawling into bed. Meanwhile Naruto just finished taking off his gear by removing his shirt and chainmail before being pushed onto the bed. Ayame then gets in next to him and pulls the sheet up, covering them both before finally resting her head on his chest. Good night everyone. Ayame then mutters before quickly falling asleep. So, does this mean that she forgives me or was just too tired to care? Naruto thinks, confused, but eventually fell asleep himself. As for Sakari and Miki, they couldn't help but look over at Ayame in jealousy. I love being friends with Ayame, but right now all I can feel is jealousy. Sakari muttered, seeing as they both watched Naruto go shirtless and see the girl now looking very comfortable with her head on his muscular chest. Agreed, Mickey couldn't help but mutter, seeing as like Sakari she currently isn't dating anyone. Still, eventually they fell asleep. Plus next morning when the group woke up, they quickly rushed over towards the market area, seeing as they didn't have any clothes to change into anyway. Not that it mattered, seeing as their main focus was to get Mickey's necklace before anyone else tried to buy it. "Hello lovely ladies, come to look at my fine wares," a man called out happily to the girls surrounded by a variety of glittery jewelry. "No, we have come to talk to you actually," Mickey said seriously. "You see, while you were in Konoha a criminal stole my necklace and sold it to you. So, I would like to buy it back please," Mickey explained to the man who frowned. "Oh, I am terribly sorry miss. I always hate having to deal with stolen property, but it is next to impossible for me to stop," the man tells her with a frown. He then grabs a box from underneath the counter. "This is all of the jewelry I bought while in Konoha from various people. Would you please pick out your piece?" The man asked her, and Mickey happily did so until a few seconds later she happily looked down at her own chest as she immediately placed the piece around her neck. "Oh my precious, I missed you," she said happily, rubbing it between her fingers before looking back at the man. "How much do I owe you?" she asked him. Well, you did say it was stolen from you, and wait a minute, weren't you guys the random people that helped our group on the way here?" the man asks after taking a closer look at all of them. "Yeah, we worked hard to chase down my precious family memento," Mickey tells him with a smirk while the man gained a wide grin. "Well, perfect. I wanted to thank you guys for saving our asses already. So, how about you just give me the price I bought the piece for and we will call it good?" the man asked and watched as Naruto placed down a pouch of money. "Sold," he told the man happily, and watched as the man got surprised by the fact that they had the exact amount. Seeing this, Naruto just smirked at the man. "Let's just say that we found the man that sold it to you and got him to tell us how much he sold it for." "Alright," the man muttered, deciding he didn't want to hear anything else about the matter, and simply placed the money underneath the counter. "We did it," Sakari called out happily, with her and Ayame looking down at the necklace that Mickey kept a protective hand on. "It took a lot of effort, but we finally got it back too." As they were doing this, Naruto smirked and turned back to the jewelry seller and quickly made another purchase. Naruto quickly fake coughed in order to get the girl's attention. He then walked over to Ayame and handed her a small box. A box she quickly opened, showing a rather plain necklace that held a pretty blue gem. Thank you Naruto-kun, but why did you get me this?" Ayame asked, not expecting the gift. Well, Ero Sennin told me that the best way to have a girl forgive you is to give them a nice gift like jewelry," Naruto told her honestly while rubbing his head. "So, do you forgive me or getting so upset with you yesterday?" Naruto asked, looking nervous. Course Ayame just blinked at this and laughed a bit. "Oh, Naruto, I was just upset at the moment. I realized it was my mistake soon after I thought about it a bit," she told him, giving him a hug. "So of course, I forgive you my sweet and caring boyfriend, and thank you for this gift," she told him, putting it on quickly. She then glanced at him for a second before gaining a mischievous smirk and leaned back close to him. "Come to think of it, you did all this work and didn't get a payment like your normal missions, so how about we think about giving you that reward I was talking about when we get home, huh?" she asks, kissing him on the cheek, causing Naruto to blush. Anyways, let's head home, shall we?" Naruto said, still flustered. "Damn lovebirds," Sakari muttered, wishing she found someone she liked enough to act like them soon. She then thought about things for a moment and quickly widened her eyes. "Shit. We have been gone for more than a full day now, our families must be worried sick," Sakari tells them, realizing she never told anyone what she was doing. Course Ayame and Mickey's eyes quickly do the same, realizing the mistake, leading to them all turning to Naruto. "Come on lover boy, you can play around with Ayame later, but right now you gotta hull ass and get us home pronto," Sakari tells Naruto, dragging the blushing boy towards the gate with Ayame and Mickey following. "Haha, well I guess they had one interesting adventure," the jewelry salesman said with a wide smile as he watched them disappear from sight. Chapter 74. Orochimaru's base, experiment hold cells. Hey, did you hear the rumor about these scientists' freaky boss died finally? A man in ragged clothes whispers. No, how the hell did you hear that? I mean, we have been stuck in this damn place for like a year now, another asked. Che, you idiot. Listen to these damn bastards keeping us in here. They have been muttering about this for a while now. The first man told him. While they were talking about this, a single girl calmly walked through the hallway, ignoring the guards that acknowledged her. This girl was Karin, who calmly walked through the chambers holding a tray of food with a calm expression on her face. That is, until she overheard the continued conversation about Orochimaru. She then quickly gained a frown and glared at the men in the cage. Bam! Shut up, you damn maggots, she screamed after kicking the cage bars. Damn garbage, having to annoy me with their useless noise making. Honestly, even if Orochimaru isn't alive, I still am in charge of this base's operation. Nothing changes after all, they still will be stuck in there until I give the nerds their chance of getting new test subjects. Karin mumbles, quite happy with her power and would be damned to ever let it get away from her. Finally, though, after getting over her rage, she continued her journey to the last cell, where a wild-looking orange-haired man sat peacefully on the bed provided to him. This man was named Jugo, who, while a test subject, was one of the few people that Karin actually liked to spend some time with. In fact, if it wasn't for him being determined to follow the old orders his master gave him, she would have had him be one of the guards or something other than being stuck in a cold cage day after day. How are you doing today, Jugo? Karin asks with a small smile as she handed over the tray of food to him. I am good, Karin-san. Jugo tells her before taking a loaf of bread off the tray and sprinkled the crumbs on a plate that sat by his window. And thank you again for letting me keep my birds. He added, smiling at the fact that several birds seemed to sense the food and quickly enter through a window. Not a problem, she told him, happy to see the man. She then began to talk to the kind orange hair man. Course she knew about the crazed other side of him but never truly cared. It was simply nice to have someone to talk to that wasn't completely focused on some study or on trying to get her to let them out. While I can't remember where Jugo really was put, but I honestly don't care. In my story he will be in Karin's care. Ma'am, a guard called out, running over to Karin. Sigh, what do you want? I already told you guys that I didn't want to be interrupted by you guys outside of my office unless it is very important. Karin tells them with a frown. Yes ma'am, I remember. But our other sensors just felt a pair of chakra signatures that are at least at Junin strength. They requested your immediate response, seeing as they seem to be heading straight for the base. The guard tells her while trying to keep his guard up, seeing as Karin's rage was well known and many felt the power of her attacks. Karin muttered, quickly spreading her senses out until she found the people mentioned. Wait, I know both of those chakra signatures. Could it really be that my Sasuke-kun finally came to see me? She thought, happily ignoring the other one. Let all guards know to let them come into the base without any problems. She ordered the man before running off. She then quickly runs to her room and tried to pretty herself up as much as possible in the minute or two she had before they reached the base. She then quickly rushed towards the front entrance of the base, and as soon as she saw the door open, she quickly did some last touches before focusing. Welcome to my facility, Sasuke-san. Karin told the man, calmly hiding the fact that she really wanted to run up and act like a fangirl. Che, and who the hell thought it'd be a good idea to have you control anything? Suigetsu says, making Karin glare at him. No one asked you, water freak, Karin muttered. Anyways, why have you come here today, Sasuke-san? I am here to discuss something with you. Sasuke tells her simply. Oh, well, come right this way. She tells him, happily, mentally jumping for joy. Yes, he finally must be here to ask me out. Oh, I wish I had enough time to dress up and prepare. She thought, imagining Sasuke and her to be his. They all then walked to her office, where she quickly opened the large door for them. But as soon as Sasuke walked through, she quickly went through herself and shut the door. Hey, Suigetsu called out after the door shut in his face, and quickly tried to open the door only to find it locked. Grr, damn this woman. He growled out, deciding not to force his way in and instead just wandered the base. Inside of the door, Karin was currently holding the shut before turning the lock. She then turned slowly towards Sasuke with a blush on her cheeks. She also then, subtlety, loosened her clothes to show off more bare chest and tried to act as sexy as possible. So, what can I do for you, Sasuke-kun? She asks, lifting her leg up a bit, trying to show off. Course Sasuke just looked at her blandly, not caring at all. I need you and Jugo to come join my team. I am creating a team of strong ninja to complete my goals with me. Sasuke tells her simply. It is so troublesome that I have to deal with this fangirl, but she will be the easiest way for me to create a team worth of being around me. After all, Jugo has more than enough strength and she is one of the best sensors Orochimaru used to have. Sasuke thinks. For while he was many things, he was not dumb. The fact that the girl was more than infatuated with meant nothing to him at the moment other than an easy way to use her. For at the current moment he was far more focused on getting his new revenge rather than trying to find women worthy enough to carry his children. But I was ordered to keep this base secure and running no matter what. I couldn't just leave my post, I'd most likely lose all of the standing and power I have gained over the years. Karin tells him, but, if I go with him then I will be able to show him my womanly charms and wear down his facade of calmness and then, Karin thinks with her blush growing. Fine, I will go with you, but you have to do one thing for me. She told him after quickly thinking things over. She then leaned over the table and came closer to the unmoving man and was about to claim his lips with hers. Crash. Hey Sasuke, are you about done? This nerd zone is starting to get real old. Suigetsu calls out after breaking through the door to the room. What are you doing, you brute? Karin yelled at him while quickly retreating and trying to make herself look as proper as possible. Che, shut up you damn tomato. Now let's get what you wanted and leave before I start killing these pencil pushers out of boredom. Suigetsu tells them, yes, we just need to collect our last member. Sasuke told him, getting up from a chair and walked out the now broken door. But I didn't even say I would go yet, or get my payment, Karin mutters, seeing as her one thing wasn't done yet. Course she ended up following them to where Jugo's cage. Plus Jugo's cage plus. Why do I have so many visitors? Jugo asked, curious, seeing as he didn't know two of the people that came to see him. Jugo, this here is Sasuke and that bastard is Suigetsu. Now please be sure to be kind to Sasuke-san, Karin explained to the man. You are Sasuke? Jugo asks, remembering how he was ordered to follow Sasuke after his first master died. Yes, now I need you to follow me and join my team. Sasuke tells Jugo simply. Okay, Jugo said after a few moments of thinking and also memorizing Sasuke's appearance. With that being said, Sasuke quickly cuts the bars down, completely freeing the man. Now grab some gear and let's go, Sasuke orders Jugo, who nods and walks to one of the guards to figure out where the storage of supplies. Meanwhile, Karin looked down at her hand which had the keys to Jugo's cage before shrugging and dropping the set. After about 30 minutes, Jugo got his equipment and clothes all situated and Karin packed her own setup. Che, they are finally done, Sasuke, Suigetsu calls over to the brooding man. Excellent, then let us continue. Sasuke ordered, walking out of the base. And with that, Sasuke felt he now had a strong enough team to accomplish his new goals. Now the only question was what target he wanted to hit first. I told you to shut the hell up. Karin screamed at Suigetsu, who ignored her. If he didn't end up killing them beforehand. Plus another Orochimaru base plus. Is the body ready? Kabuto asked a scientist standing beside him. Yes, we have Lord Orochimaru's next body ready. We are just waiting on his approval. The man told Kabuto, looking at a table in front of them that had a single person strapped down. Good, you may leave. Kabuto tells him simply, with the man giving a quick bow before doing just that. After which Kabuto opened the file about the restrained man and set it on a table. Ready, Lord Orochimaru? Yes. A whispered voice called out, and soon Kabuto saw a small white snake come into view and allowed it to come into his hand. He then placed the small snake on the file which it looked to begin reading. This is acceptable. The snake told him. Great, I will begin the process immediately, but next time you wish to sacrifice your body, may I suggest that you at least pick your next body beforehand. Kabuto told his boss. For while there were multiple options for them to pick from, they still had a whole process to go through. All the while they were hiding the fact that Orochimaru was more defenseless than he had been in decades. Still, Orochimaru said nothing and instead went over to the motionless man and started the process. As soon he did this, the retrained man quickly started screaming and trying to struggle, only for the restraints to hold strong. Meanwhile, Kabuto watched on, not bothered at all by the screams echoing around the room. A while later. Well, finally the process is finished. Kabuto stated rather blandly as he saw the retrained man now look exactly like his master. Yes, now on to business. Orochimaru says with a smirk before opening his mouth, pushing out a body that calmly walked over to Kabuto while his old skin disintegrated. But yes, I will keep a body on hand to switch into. Having to stay as a snake for a while is rather annoying. He added, cracking his neck. Now how is my plan processing? He asks, walking out of the room with Kabuto following. Well, after our attack we gained one new subject, is accepting mental commands properly. Meanwhile we have been collecting more subjects every day of various strength levels. Soon enough we will have enough numbers to complete the next parts of the plan. Kabuto explains, vaguely planning to give him proper reports soon enough. Kukuku, excellent, I will check on the reports tomorrow. For now I will be spending the rest of my day on my own projects. Orochimaru told him. Okay. But sir, what about Sasuke? Kabuto asks, seeing as he did betray them. Kukuku, don't worry about him. If he becomes too much of an annoyance to our progress I will take care of him, but otherwise he most likely will end up being taken care of by his own arrogance soon enough. Orochimaru told him. As you wish, Kabuto told him, clearly not happy but accepted it. Chapter 75. Orochimaru base. Orochimaru currently was sitting on a chair looking through a large file slowly. It seems that while Kisame did make an Enkoku Kyo as expected, it seems that he failed to keep his ability to transform into a shark form. Not to mention that his shark summons no longer allow themselves to be summoned, and his sword fled before he even entered this building. No matter, he still will be a fine addition to my forces. With him added in, I already have a couple of thousand Daku soldiers and around 100 handlers. But of course, many of these are nothing but cannon fodder. I believe it is time for me to go collect more strong additions before the villages become too aware of my plans. Even if it does start bringing attention to what kind of power is in my hands. Orochimaru thought before looking over to a map of all known villages, including all ninja villages, towns, samurai villages and many other things. He scanned his eyes over the large map, trying to figure out which location would be the best to hit. Kukuku, let's show the world just what creatures I have been keeping from them. Orochimaru mutters with a wide smirk on his face. He then decided on his target and quickly summoned a small snake that slithered slowly out of the room. As he waited for the creature to do its job, he calmly continues to enjoy the thought of the future. Konoha, Cage Tower. Tsunade currently was working through a large pile of paper, much to her displeasure. Why the hell did I take this job? She grumbles, glaring at the papers. Still she buckled down and did the papers till all of a sudden, her door was slammed open by Shizune. Lady Tsunade, we just received an urgent message from Tamila Town. Shizune told her, quickly handing over the scroll. Tsunade quickly grabbed the message and broke the seal. Lady Tsunade, we request an immediate assistance with an attacking force that is at least 300 strong. These forces seem to be strange humans that seem to be black splotches on them. While mostly unarmed, they seem to be stronger than our normal guards. Please send at least 2 teams to help eradicate this threat before our fair town gets overrun. Sealed inside of this scroll is enough money, a B rank mission with 2 teams. If more money is required, payments can be discussed after the mission is completed. Signed, Mayor Javier. These black creatures again. What is Orochimaru doing? It has to be him. Either way, we can't let these black creatures spread. Tsunade thought, remembering how fast another black creature were made. Shizune, fetch me Team 7 and Team 10 and get their asses here immediately. Tsunade thought after quickly thinking things through. Plus 15 minutes later. After hearing the message that they were requested, both of the teams went up to the Hokage's office and currently stood in front of Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, you needed us? Sakura asked. I have called both of your teams today because we have just received word that a village is in dire need of help. Even as we speak, their guards are fighting a losing battle against a horde of the black creatures that you have faced before, Team 7. So, your mission is to immediately eradicate all of these creatures and save the village if possible. Tsunade tells the team firmly, who nod. She then looks over to Team 10. As for you 3, while you are allowed to help with the pest extermination, your main focus is to see if there is any normal person controlling the black creatures. According to information that we have received about these creatures, is that they are somehow created in a way that they have one person controlling their every movement. Find this man and capture him for interrogation at all costs. She finished explaining, getting a nod from the group. Understood, Hokage-sama, Shikamaru tells her calmly. Good, now quickly get ready and leave as soon as you are able. Not only does possibly vital information lie in this mission but also the lives of hundreds of Fire Country lives. Tsunade tells them and watches as both groups quickly leave to prepare themselves. Sigh, I hope that Orochimaru isn't planning something too crazy. You never can tell what horrible plan that crazy bastard has come up with. Tsunade thinks, slowly opening a drawer and pulled out a small scroll labeled, Extra Supplies, and quickly opened it up showing various item storage seals. She then opens it to the first filled seal she saw and pumped chakra into it, releasing a jug of sake. This job is just too stressful. Tsunade mutters, taking several large gulps from the bottle. Meanwhile, the Anbu hiding in the room couldn't help but shake their head at their leader's addiction, and hoped they wouldn't have to listen through yet another rant if Shizune came back in. Team 7 and Team 10, Village Gate equals. After leaving the office, each team member quickly went to their own homes to fetch their packs and quickly went to the gate to wait for everyone else to show up. After which they all quickly left and traveled at a decent pace towards Tamila town. Thankfully it didn't take too long for them to reach the town, but when they got there, they could clearly see that the town desperately needed help. For while they did have a wooden fence, the thing had various breaks and problems, while there was a couple of dozen bodies around said fence that were clearly the black creatures. Course they didn't worry about that and instead went to the gate where two very weary guards stood. Now just to say it now, while most villages in the show we saw didn't have walls, I had to give them something. I mean, while most villages had to have some sort of guard and or police force, there is no way that they would be able to handle the force of a mob of creatures attacking the village at once. So, for this village they do have a wall, or if you wish to think of it this way, just imagine that they put it up out of necessity after they repelled the first attack. Either way, I just had to give them something, or I would think that they would be overrun, even though guards would be capable of handling some of the zombies. Halt. State your purpose here. One of the guards ordered them, quickly standing straight. We are the teams your mayor requested for. Sakura tells the man, who sighed in relief. Oh, thank Kami. Let me take you to him. The guard tells them with a smirk, clearly relieved. He then walks into the town with them until they stood in front of a plump man that appeared to be in his 60s. Sir, the ninjas have arrived. The man says simply before walking off back to his post. Meanwhile, the portly mayor quickly walks over to them and looked at them with hope in his eyes. Welcome ninjas, I am glad that you all made it here so fast. As you can see, our poor town is in a rough state. Those damn people, things are getting closer and closer to invading the town. So, please finish off this swarm before it is too late. Mayor Javier tells them. Don't worry Javier-san, we will eradicate these creatures in no time. Naruto tells the man with a wide smirk. Sir, do you have any information about the enemy's current whereabouts and numbers? Shikamaru asks the man calmly. No, I am sorry to tell you, but I don't have any clue where the creatures went. They just show up to attack us all of a sudden, and after a while they all just left for a while. The whole event is really confusing. The man tells them. Hey, don't worry, that's fine Mayor. We will find them for you in no time. Ino tells the man, trying to cheer him up and give him some support. Actually, Ino, it may be better for us to wait on them to come back. Shikamaru tells them, surprising the rest of the group. Why? Choji asks, confused. If we send out people to look for the group, we will be down at least a few members of our team. Say while they are away the group comes to attack. It is quite possible that the rest of us will be unable to repel the attack. Not to mention the other side of this mission. After all, if we are going after the cause of these attacks, then we will have the best chance when the attack is happening. Shikamaru explained. It makes sense, but we need to make sure that the people here stay safe. Sakura mutters before Naruto's smirk becomes even wider. He then quickly put his fingers together in a cross sign. Thus, he quickly created a lot of clones that quickly dispersed. Hey, my clones will guard the village day and night, so we will be notified as soon as the enemy shows up. Well then, Team 10 will search for the attackers while Team 7 guards the village. But we will keep in contact and we will not attack them if the group is found until both teams are present. Shikamaru tells the group. But first, where can we rest after our trip? Oh yes, I am sorry I forgot about that part. Let me lead you to what we have gotten set up for you. Javier tells them, walking to a small building that seemed to be originally some sort of storage area. It's not much, but at least you will have a roof over your head while you are here. It is more than enough. Thank you, Mayor-san, Ino tells the man. Course she also wished that they could also finish this mission as fast as possible. Not only for her to be back to her own house but also so that these villagers could actually relax. Still she didn't add this part and instead watched as they walked away. After the mayor left them, Naruto quickly summoned about a dozen clones that quickly went in different directions. He then pulls out a scroll and quickly pulled out a rather large tent. Naruto-kun, why are you taking that out? Choji asked, confused, looking from the house to the tent. Come on Choji-kun, do you really expect 2 full teams to sleep comfortably in this house? I mean, we could squeeze in, but why bother when I can easily give us more room? Naruto explains. That's actually a pretty smart. Sakura tells him honestly. So, the village idiot actually can think. Sai says with a fake smile, ignoring the glare Naruto was giving him. Anyways, let's get some rest. I want to begin our search at dawn. Shikamaru tells them, stopping the fight before it had a chance to start up. So, with that finished, they quickly decided to have Ino, Sakura, and Shikamaru in the small house while the rest of them stayed in the tent. Partially because if Choji tried to fit in the house, the rest of them would worry about Naruto trying to kill Sai after a few more of Sai's comments. Plus next morning, after everyone woke up, they quickly cleaned up and got situated. After which Shikamaru's team left the village to try and find any hints of the attackers. While they left, Naruto quickly got rid of his old clones and summoned a new batch, making sure to make some extra to help the village with various repairs they needed. Sakura spent her time healing the guards that were injured while protecting the town, and Sai created several ink creatures and tried to look around the town. I hope Shikamaru and his team can find the creatures before they get here. But I have no doubts that we can handle them. But if we can get more information about what is going on, we could save countless more lives. Sakura thinks as she continues to heal a random man. Shikamaru's team. After leaving the village, Team 10 quickly explored the area around the village and quickly found tracks that were muddled around. Still, Shikamaru was able to figure out the way the large group went, at least at the moment. After which they quickly began following the trail into the woods as quietly as they could. Hey, it seems like these creatures aren't too good at hiding their tracks. Choji muttered, seeing as the large mass of footprints was clearly visible in the soft forest ground. Yeah, this is almost too easy. Ino mutters. Just keep your guard up. We barely know anything about these creatures. They could very well have powers that are extremely dangerous. Shikamaru tells them. Finally, after they were a few hundred meters away from the town, he quickly stopped his teammates and pointed down below him. For bumbling around a tree or two in front of them, there was a couple of dozen black-blooded creatures clearly visible just wandering around. Geez, they aren't really hidden, are they? Ino whispered. Remember though, they are attacking the town. There has to be more of them around. Shikamaru tells, looking around the area. I am gonna be honest. I am gonna have them find out the name of them as Daku, seeing as I am really tired of saying black blood creatures. So, in fact, I am gonna start calling them Daku when not talking. But either way, they don't seem to be looking for us, or anything for that matter. Choji mutters, seeing as the Daku were slowly wandering around with no noticeable goal. For now, but we need to focus on trying to find our main targets. Shikamaru told them, and they all began to sneak around the Daku as much as possible. Course the whole time the creatures seemed to pay absolutely no attention, even as random animals made noise around them. Thankfully, after an hour of slowly moving around, they finally saw 3 tents set up around a fire pit that currently only held burnt logs. Hey, this mission is so easy, I can't believe I get some extra test subjects of my choice after this. A man wearing white coat that had various stains on it. Yes, test subjects are good, but the money is nice as well. Another man in plain clothes told him, eating a bit of something he had in a bag. Well, at least you two are enjoying this. Having to guard you two eggheads is boring as shit. A woman tells them, with 2 others nodding behind her. These 3 all were in obvious ninja gear, with the girl in front sharpening a katana. Hey, come on, it's an easy task for you guys as well. I mean, these stupid Daku will do all the work for us. Hell, we don't need to even lift a finger. The lab coat wearing man told her, waving his hands with a wide smile. Che, whatever. Just get ready to leave. I want to finish this in the next couple of hours. The woman told them, still clearly annoyed. "Ya hear that? Let's go inform Team 7 and begin to plan how to get one of those too." Choji tells his teammates quietly. "Troublesome, it is too dangerous for one of us to be alone around so many unknowns, let's go together back to the town. We will have to work on trying to capture them later," Shikamaru told them after debating for a bit. So, with that being said, they quickly backed out of the area. These creatures are just far too troublesome. But why are they attacking all of a sudden? There is too many unknowns right now, Shikamaru thought as they made their way back to town. What Konoha failed to realize was that it wasn't only them being attacked. For all around the elemental nations, Orochimaru's creatures attacked several towns, with some of them being completely repelled by guards, some having minor success, and some of them wiped out various places. All in all, the world itself found out how much of a danger these new creatures were. Not to mention, as time passes, there were more and more cases of various ninja losing their lives to the creatures, while reports of various villagers disappearing became more and more frequent. Overall, everyone was quickly becoming terrified of these unknown beings. Orochimaru's base. Kukuku, my lovely specimens are doing their job perfectly. The world now knows to fear my troops and their ranks are growing daily, Orochimaru says happily while sitting in his throne. Lord Orochimaru-sama, we are happy to report that we have gained several dozen Naka Daku and stronger Daku under our control, with most of our losses being very minor. A scientist tells Orochimaru with a proud smile. Perfect, let the troops we send out continue attacking as much as they want, as long as a portion of their extra troops are sent back to our main base, Orochimaru told the man with a smirk. Soon the next part of our plans will be ready to begin. Excellent, these fools are quickly showing the world just how much of a threat my minions truly are. Soon enough the major villages will have no choice but to fall right into what I have been planning for years now, Orochimaru thinks, with his smirk growing as he watches the man that gave him the report leave his room. And these fools aren't any wiser about the fact that most of them are just pawns to be used to keep people occupied while I collect the last few things I need. Soon enough my goals will reach fruition, Orochimaru adds, truly happy that his plans are going so perfectly. Chapter 76. Guarded Town, Team 7. A Naruto clone was calmly walking around the village when Team 10 appeared before him. That was fast. Did you guys already complete your mission? Clone Naruto asked with a smirk. We found the black blood creatures, but there were too many unknowns for us to do anything. Anyways, we need to talk to Team 7. Shikamaru tells the clone walking by him. Said clone just nodded and began to continue his walk, but was stopped by Ino giving him a hug. Hey, what is this for Ino-chan? The Naruto clone asked, a bit surprised as he looked down at the girl holding onto the front of him. I have wanted to do this to see what happens for so long, and now is the perfect time, Ino told him with a mischievous smirk. She then brought her face close to the Naruto clone, who was now blushing. But instead of getting into his face, she put her head right beside his. So close that the clone could feel her hot breath on his ear. Ino-chan, what are you doing? Naruto asked, still not pulling away from her. Don't you worry about that, she told him, blowing on his ear to tease him, and gained a smirk when she felt a shiver run through his body. She then brought her head even closer to his ear and bit his ear just hard enough for him to feel a small amount of pain. Still the clone froze and then poofed out of existence. She then fell into a fit of giggles. Either Naruto's clones are much less resilient than I thought, or I just officially made a man die of embarrassment, Ino told herself, fully planning on holding this moment over the blonde's head for a long time. She then left to catch up with her team and the real Naruto. Meanwhile, after leaving the clone, Choji and Shikamaru walked to their base, which currently was their house in the town. When they got there, only Sakura was in the house reading a book as she ate some food. Hey guys, you came back a lot faster than we thought you would, Sakura tells them with a smile. Well, they weren't all that hidden, Choji tells her simply. Troublesome. We were able to find them, but they plan on destroying this town in a couple of hours. We couldn't attack them though due to being outnumbered and having too many unknowns, Shikamaru tells her simply. Do you know where the other two are? We need to go over a plan to take care of them, Shikamaru asks. Hi, Naruto is currently training in a field and Sai is working on his painting on the roof of some house, I think. I'll go collect them real quick, Sakura tells them, putting her book away and quickly left the building. Meanwhile Choji calmly sat down in the chair she just left and unsealed a bag of chips and opened them with a smirk. He then looked up at Shikamaru. What? The journey made me hungry. Choji told him before focusing on the flavor of his chips. Sometimes his ability to eat no matter how stressful the time is amazes even me, Shikamaru mentally admitted. Not that he would ever verbally say it. After a minute or two of waiting, Sakura came back with both of her teammates. Welcome back you guys, Naruto told them with a smirk before looking around. But where is Ino-chan? Naruto asks. Ino decided to stay and mess with the clone of you that we talked to, and what is wrong? Shikamaru asks as Naruto tensed up and now had a large blush on his face. Ino-chan happened. Naruto told them simply and tried to control his blush. Anyways, you want to talk about a plan? Yes, but now we must wait for Ino to get here. And judging from your reaction I'd assume it won't be long. Shikamaru told him. As accurate as ever. Ino calls out happily, wrapping her arms around Naruto. But wow Naruto. I gotta say that I am surprised that you can die out of embarrassment. Ino told him with a giggle. What do you mean? Sakura asked confused. Hee well your teammate here just found out that his clones can actually die from embarrassment. I mean all I did was nibble on your ear a little bit, poor Naru is so sensitive. Ino told her with a wide smirk while cuddling into her boyfriend who yet again was blushing heavily as Sakura cracked up. Haha, you actually had a clone die of embarrassment, she said pointing at him. Shut up, Naruto told her, which had no power to stop either girl from laughing at him. Cough. Anyways, Shikamaru said a bit louder. Let's get started talking about the plan, seeing as the enemy could be coming towards us right now. Shikamaru tells them. Troublesome blondes, he then muttered as everyone sat around the table. So what is your plan, Shikamaru? Naruto asks now that he wasn't the main focus of their conversation. From what we saw, there is two people in control of a large amount of the black blood creatures. Both of these men seem to be researchers and not fighters. But it seems that a squad of ninja are protecting them. We don't know how strong these ninjas are, but from looks alone I would expect a Jonin and 3 Chunin. From our observations, all of this attacking force does not expect to meet much opposition in the next fight, meaning that we have the upper hand. Shikamaru explains calmly, pausing to make sure that everyone was paying attention to him still. Okay, and we should expect them within the next couple of hours. Naruto reaffirmed. Correct. But sadly, we don't know much about their plans and basic strength, seeing as it was too dangerous for me to enter one of their minds. So, we need to assume each one of them is dangerous. But from basic observations, the two controlling the creatures seem to be next to useless without their army. Ino adds in. Well, I love Microsoft. I probably spent an hour working on his plan and was happy with it. Finally I saved it and shut my computer down. Apparently my computer decided to turn that work into dust, so if this doesn't make as much sense here, I am sorry. Yes, that is true. Now here is the plan that I have came up with. So, to start off, Naruto, you and Sai hold off the attacking black blood creatures with your clones and Sai's ink clones. Meanwhile you two will keep an eye on the fighting just in case any of the creatures are stronger than what our previous reports have informed us of. Meanwhile Sakura, Ino, and Choji will focus on the team of ninja and try to defeat them as fast as possible. Though I want this group to be careful, seeing as, like Ino has said, we don't know their true strength or hidden abilities. Now while their fight is going on, Naruto and me will also keep an eye on this fight and enter the battle if needed while Sai covers fighting the creatures. While all of this is going on, I will focus on my team's main goal of trying to collect at least one of the people controlling the creatures in order to get valuable information. Now I am well aware that this is more of a risky plan, but the information that we could get from those men could be invaluable in possibly saving countless lives in the future. Shikamaru finally fully explains. Sounds like a logical plan. Sai says, quickly agreeing. Meanwhile everyone else nodded their head in approval, clearly all for the plan as well. Anyways, enough talking, let's go get prepared, after we finish eating of course. Choji tells them. Wouldn't it be more important to just start preparing now? Sakura asks with a sweat drop. No, it is always important to finish your food. Choji tells her seriously. Sai, we will get ready and Choji will come help as soon as he finishes. Ino tells the group. But, just trust me, it will be better for us in the long run. Ino tells him honestly. After all, she knew that unless it was something very important, Choji would want to finish eating. Or else he would complain to the person that forced him to do so for a long time. So, for this time where there were several other people that can get the preparation done without his help, he wasn't completely worried. After all, Naruto could easily create enough clones to build up the defenses more and keep the civilians protected. So, with the rest of the group simply accepted this and went their separate ways to prepare as much as they could before the attackers arrived. Plus 2 hours later plus. A few of Naruto's clones were lazily walking around when they heard a large group of people coming. So, one of them quickly popped out of existence, spreading the information to the rest of the clones and the real Naruto instantly. "They are coming," Naruto called out to the rest of his team that were lazing about close to him. But as soon as Naruto said this, they all quickly got ready for the fight at hand, and Sai pumped chakra into a large scroll he had, instantly bringing to life various ink animals and monsters that spread around the area. Meanwhile, a good portion of the clones congregated around the animals as well, but made sure to keep at least some of them guarding the rest of the village just in case something snuck around. Finally, for the townspeople that were trying their hardest to protect their homes, were armed with their various weapons behind the walls that were put up around the town. "I really hope these ninjas know what they are doing," one of the villagers muttered as he glanced over the wall at the large group that were guarding them. Within a few minutes after the first warning came up, everyone could see the large group coming at them at a relatively fast pace. The group itself seemed to have all of the Daku were leading, while no one was able to see the ninja or the two men, seeing as they were lagging a bit behind of the Daku. "Ha ha ha, go on my creatures, destroy this town," one of the men yelled out happily. "You know they can't actually understand what you are saying, right?" the female ninja told the man. "Hey, don't ruin our fun. Unlike you ninja, we researchers don't get to feel overpowered very often." The other man answered her, making all of the ninja roll their eyes. "Just leave them to their fantasies, it will be less of a headache," the male ninja walking beside his leader told her. "Sigh, I know, but these idiots are so annoying," she told him, quiet enough that only trained ninja ears could hear. "Hey, big surprise, these eggheads are annoying. Let's just hope that we don't have to do anything and get an easy mission to get praised for," the other female ninja says with a smirk. She thought, imagining Orochimaru praising them when they got back to the base. "True, but make sure that idea doesn't get into our heads too much. Chances are those fools got a few ninja to try and repel the Daku," the woman in charge told them, getting nods showing her team understood. Soon after they finished talking, the Naruto clones and ink creatures charged at them from the village, proving her thoughts were correct. "What the hell are those things? No matter, attack my minions," the first researcher ordered, with the others soon following, making the Daku speed up and begin to fight with the clones when they reached each other. "Wow, gotta say I didn't expect this town out in the middle of nowhere to be able to afford so many ninja," one of the researchers muttered. "Because they didn't, you fool. This is just a clone jutsu from one ninja. But it seems that one of them has an insane amount of chakra," the leader of the ninja team told him. He would make a great Daku then. It's decided, capture him alive so that he can be converted. Just imagine how much more of a reward we would get if we did," the first researcher said. "We will see how annoying he will be to catch," one of the ninjas says simply. After all, they knew nothing about this target, seeing as he hasn't gotten a bounty yet. Konoha team's perspective. So far, Naruto's clones and Sai's creations were for the most part winning the large battle. For while there were more of the Daku than clones, most of the creatures didn't seem all that strong. In fact, for the most part, most of them seemed to be using a sloppy form of brawling as their style, meaning Naruto's trained style far surpassed them. Still, there were some losses on the clones' side, but they were currently only minor. Something that Naruto took pride in as he watched the fight from the town's walls. It seems even Dickless can be useful for some missions," Sai said in his normal bland voice. "What did you say?" Naruto growled at his teammate. "Well, it seems like your usual tactic of spamming clones actually is doing something instead of just being a large waste of chakra like your history seems to show," Sai told him with a fake smile. "The book did say that a good way to make people happy is by giving them compliments when they do something good," Sai thought, remembering one of his many books on being normal. "Grr, fuck you," Naruto growled at Sai, turning his attention back to the fight in front of him. It seems that yet again the reaction I receive isn't anywhere close to what the book said would happen. I need to find more research material. Sai thought while he drew more of his creatures just in case they were needed again. Meanwhile Sakura, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji were running far away from the battle going around the massive battle. I know that it is just a part of the plan but it feels bad avoiding a fight we know our friends are in. Choji mutters. Course he knew that it was just part of the job but it didn't make it feel any better. Course hearing his teammates' caring nature come out again made Shikamaru have the slightest bit of a smirk on his face. Look at it this way, if we can get the people controlling the creatures, they hopefully will stop their attack. Shikamaru told him. Still, they couldn't talk for too long before they had to refocus seeing as they were coming closer to their targets. Soon enough they all were hidden in the forest as close as they dared to get to their targets still not noticed. With that said Sakura quickly did a hand signal to her team and all of them besides Shikamaru quickly rushed at the enemy ninja who quickly got over their surprise and quickly formed a triangle formation around the scientist. Whoa, what the hell? One of the men said surprised by the sudden movement until he saw the Konoha team. Oh, damn it they have more than just this blonde guy here. Scared of the foreign ninja. Che, just keep the attack up on the village we will take care of them. The leader of the ninja told them calmly. She then unsheathed her blade and blocked a kunai from Sakura. With Choji attacking the male and Ino attacking the other women. Gee good, the scientist muttered and tried to completely refocus on the Daku. But he still was clearly distracted by the fighting going on around him until he had to dodge a stray kunai that nearly hit his foot through basically sheer luck. Okay fuck this. The man says and began to run away from the fighting ninja. Oi, the team says that they have them so just let them do their job. We have to make sure that we complete this mission to get our rewards. The scientist with a lab coat ordered his teammate. You can continue this if you want but I value my life more than my work. The plain-clothed man told him before beginning to run off. But strangely enough after a few steps he froze with one foot in the air. What the hell is going on? Why can't I move? The man asked freaking out. Meanwhile the man in the lab coat looked at him confused until he finally looked at the ground and noticed his shadow was strangely extremely long. What the fuck? He muttered until he saw another black shadow slowly coming towards him. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't you ninja actually do your job properly? He yelled out before noticing that now that he noticed it the shadow sped up even more. Fuck. The man yells and began to run as fast as he could away from it as fast as he could. Damn it they had another team member. The woman without a katana growls out and tried to run over to where the shadow clearly originated only for two kunai to sink into her legs. Gah, she cried out in pain as she stopped running. In case you forgot, I am your opponent. Ino tells the girl with a vicious smirk. What luck, these ninja hardly even seem to be chunin. Especially to completely show her back to me without any defense plan at all. Ino thought happily. For while she was well aware of her own strengths and weaknesses, she had worked hard to bring all of her abilities up to an acceptable jonin level. While the women stood back up, she watched with a glare as the shadow connected with the now sweating man. Che, we will just have to kill that fool after taking care of you. The women told her quickly breathing out a ball of fire at Ino who jumped to the left to dodge. Shadow possession complete. Shikamaru muttered with a smirk he then stood up from his classic pose. He then walked back into the forest making both of the researchers walk into the forest as they tried desperately to break his jutsu's hold on them. While he did this the other sound ninja women's glare worsened seeing as she couldn't do anything to stop them. You bastards, she growled out trying to finish off Sakura as fast as she could to try and remedy her failing mission. But for now she instead could only watch as the two men moved closer and closer to the forest. Come on you stupid ninjas you are supposed to protect us. One of the men yelled at their group. You fuckers better come help us. I swear if you let this precious researcher die I am sure that Lord Orochimaru will have your hide. The other threatens. Still none of them could do anything as both men disappeared into the forest. Shikamaru. After pulling both of the scientists into the forest a decent bit Shikamaru quickly cancelled his technique and quickly tied up the two men so that they couldn't escape. Oh for fuck's sake those damn ninja couldn't do one job. The man without a lab coat complained. So, what do you want pineapple head? He asked with a glare. Troublesome. Shikamaru muttered seeing as this guy was trying to act tough. Well, for starters, if both of you would stop the attack on the town. He told the man simply. Oh sure, I can do that, but what's in it for me? He asks with a smirk. Not dying, Shikamaru told him blandly, then watched as both of the men paled, but the smirk quickly came back. I know you bastards won't be killing us off that easy. You need us, he stated firmly. Oh we do. Hey ya, I know your leaders are probably quaking in their boots about an unknown creature. So, they probably want all the information they can get their hands on. So, how about this? You guys get me set up all nice and comfy in a town, and maybe then I'll be in the mood to let you know some things about Snakeface's plans. The man told him as confident as a tied-up person could be. You can't do that. As soon as he finds out, Lord Orochimaru will send out every assassin he has to kill you. The other man told him. These two really don't have any idea what ninjas actually do, or even a basic understanding of how military planning even works. Shikamaru thinks a bit surprised by this fact, seeing as if these men really were supposed to be smart. Quickly deciding he was done with the men, he knocks them both out and leaves their unconscious bodies to get back to the fight at hand. Battle. This was supposed to be an easy mission until you bastards came along. The male sound ninja complained as he hit Choji in the gut. Well, you should have known that Konoha ninja will always protect the land of fire. Choji told the man proudly. But sadly it seems that your time is up. Choji tells the man, confusing him until he realized he couldn't move anymore. Welcome back, Shikamaru, Choji told his friend. Thank you for waiting, Shikamaru tells him, standing a bit away from their fight. Hey, as if this would be enough to stop me, the man says with a cocky smirk, then bit down hard on something in his mouth. A few moments later his muscles visibly bulged and all of his veins could be seen. With this medicine I am stronger than I ever was before, the man said with a crazed smile as he began to struggle against Shikamaru's hold. So, what if you still can't move? Choji told him calmly before slamming his hands into the ground, finishing his jutsu, thus causing a spike of earth to pierce through the sound ninja. Meanwhile, Sakura's opponent quickly pulls out a strange weapon that looked to be a small dagger with holes in it. She then swung it at Sakura, who dodges the attack and throws a punch at the woman. Sadly, as soon as she was about to make contact with the woman, she found her hand to instead go straight through her. Ha ha ha, you are in for it now, bitch. I didn't want to use this weapon, but you left me no choice. The woman explains, holding the weapon that now had obvious cracks around the holes. Flashback, sound ninja mentally. Now remember Tatsuki, this is still in its testing phase, but this weapon is my newest creation. To use it you need to push wind chakra through the holes, creating sound waves that mess with a human's senses enough so that they can no longer properly judge distances. Now use this only when you absolutely need to, seeing as the holes weaken the weapon considerably. In fact, I imagine that you will only be able to use it maybe once or twice properly, and if you block a regular kunai there is a chance that it might shatter. So, be very careful with this, but use it to come back to me, okay? A researcher explained to the women. Okay Ne-chan, Tatsuki says with a smile, placing the blade in her weapon pack. Flashback end. Thank you Ne-san, you really did save me, the women admitted, watching as Sakura places her hand on her head for a minute. Now it is time for you to die, she says with a wide smirk, rushing at Sakura with a kunai ready to hit her heart. She got closer and closer until right when she was close enough to finish, Sakura quickly closed her fist. Shinaro, Sakura called out, slamming her fist directly into the woman's stomach. An attack that had enough force to launch the woman into a stone several meters away from their battle area. Tatsuki tried to pull herself away from the stone she was now embedded in, only to feel immense pain from her abdomen. Cough cough, how? Tatsuki asks after coughing up some blood. Your strange device would have been deadly to most people, but sadly you are fighting a medical ninja. It was all too easy for me to heal the damage did to me, Sakura told her honestly. Damn, Tatsuki muttered as she felt her life slip away from internal blood loss. Finally, as for the last woman that was attacking Ino. In their fight, Ino was doing all that she could to keep the fight at a stalemate. Hey, you weak girl, how long can your defense hold up? The woman asked with a smirk. For a while she was only sweating a little bit, while Ino was currently panting a decent bit. This is the problem with ninja outside of the sound. All of you spend so much time focusing on teamwork and other shit like that instead of getting stronger yourself. Now you will pay for it. The woman told her with a vicious smirk. It may be true that I'm not the strongest, but don't you dare look down at Konoha ever again. Ino told the woman with a glare. Oh, and why not? Because Konoha's useless tactic is finally ready to take care of you. Ino says with a smirk, confusing the woman until she felt Sakura slam a fist into her head, killing her quickly. Phew, thank you Sakura-san, Ino told the girl with a smirk. No problem, but I training your taijutsu when we get back to the village. Sakura tells her seriously. After all, she didn't want one of her friends to have such a glaring weakness if she could help it. Hi, Ino mutters, a bit afraid of what was to come. After all she heard of what Tsunade's training involved. They ended the talk about training when each one of them grouped back together. So, were you able to get the people controlling those creatures? Ino asked, seeing as Sai and Naruto were still working on defeating the Daku. Sai, it is troublesome, but it seems that even if the people controlling them are incapacitated, they still follow their last order. Shikamaru explains. Anyways, let's go help them finish them off. Choji tells the group, with all of them besides Shikamaru agreeing. You guys finish off these creatures, I am going to make sure those two scientists are secure. He tells the group, who nods, understanding the importance of keeping those two properly contained. So, while he walked back into the forest while the rest rushed towards the battle going on. Plus 30 minutes later plus. The Konoha ninja made quick work of the Daku now that they didn't have to worry about injuring any of their teammates or people they needed to capture. In fact, the scientists both were now awake but tied up in the building they were given. Sadly, they had to have their mouths gagged, seeing as they seemed to have made it their goal to annoy the crap out of both teams. But they were leaving the more aggressive forms of information gathering until they were safely back in Konoha. Currently though, these men were being guarded only by a few clones, while the real members of the team were all standing in the center of town surrounded by a bunch of people. Thank you for defeating those creatures. Mayor Javier said with a large smile as he shook Shikamaru's hand. It isn't a problem, sir. It's just part of the mission you gave us. Shikamaru told the man simply, while the rest of the group shared the smirks that the rest of the townspeople had on their faces. Still, we are grateful for all of you getting here before we were wiped out by those things. We will always be grateful of you, Konoha ninja. The mayor tells them truthfully. Hey, not a problem. But as much as we would love to spend some more time with you guys celebrating, we really must take these two back to Konoha. Naruto tells them honestly. Course all of the villagers understood this, and after a quick celebration both teams went back to their base and quickly packed up their equipment before getting some rest before their journey home. Plus next morning, in front of town plus. Both teams woke up right as the sun rose and picked up the last bit of their gear and now stood in front of the town on the path towards Konoha. By Ninja Sans, thank you. The group heard a young child call out to them as the rest of the town waved goodbye to them, making all of them feel proud of the fact their mission was such a success. Okay, let's head home. Shikamaru tells the group with a small smirk on his face. He then began walking as the rest of the group begins to walk. Naruto yet again summoned two clones that carried their captives like sacks of potatoes. A fact that led to both of the men being knocked out, accidentally, several times as they completed the journey home. Konoha gates. Finally, after about a full day's worth of travel, they finally made it back to the village. Now they could have made it in the same time that it took them to reach the town, but none of them wished to run full out without actually needing to. State your names and purpose, the guard ordered them at the gate like normal, and they all quickly gave their basic information to be allowed in for well-deserved rest. Meanwhile, as soon as they fully stepped into Konoha, two Anbu members took their captives without saying a single word and disappeared. Okay teams, go home and get some well-needed rest. We will meet back here at 8 tomorrow morning to give our reports. Shikamaru told both groups, getting nods as everyone visibly relaxed and went their separate ways. Chapter 77. Hokage Tower. After both teams woke up, they quickly met up and then walked to Tsunade's office and knocked respectfully on the door. Sadly, though, they failed to get any response even after knocking 2 more times. Screw this. Naruto grumbled before opening the door and barging in. We are here for our meeting, Ba-chan. He called out without a care. Naruto-kun, you shouldn't just barge into Lady Tsunade's office uninvited. Ino tells her boyfriend, a bit surprised seeing as she never saw him do this before. Course Sakura who has quickly goes over to Naruto and smacks him into the floor while muttering, "Baka." Still they were all partially surprised by the fact that sitting in her chair was Tsunade herself, sound asleep. Wasn't she the one who decided on this time? Choji whispers to Shikamaru. Sigh, troublesome, this was the time that the Anbu told me, he mutters wishing he knew this would happen, he would have let himself sleep for a few more hours. Grr, this is ridiculous. Naruto grumbles after getting up from the floor. He then walked over to the desk and slammed his hands down on it. Wake up Ba-chan, he yelled at her. Sadly, for him when Tsunade did wake up she quickly glared at the blonde in front of her. Don't call me Ba-chan you damn brat. Tsunade yelled back at Naruto and launched him out of the room with a punch to the face. Sigh, honestly the only thing he didn't seem to learn from that frog Baka is being perverted, Tsunade mutters before fully noticing the rest of the group around her. Cough, so, what can I do for all of you? She asks ignoring the sweat drops they all had. Our mission was successful. We managed to save the town from being completely destroyed and caught 2 of the people that controlled the creatures. Currently both of the men are detained in the jail and await your order. If you want us to fully explain the mission events, I will happily tell you, but seeing as you seem so busy, I will leave it up to you to decide if you wish to hear it or just read about it in my report. Shikamaru told her, truly wanting to leave this strange meeting. Sigh, I'll just read the report, I don't want to deal with the brat anymore this morning. Tsunade told him honestly. But in the meantime, Anbu. She called out, having one of the few hidden in her office to reveal themselves. Hi, Hokage-sama, the masked man said calmly. Tell T and I that I want to know everything the 2 people they capture know about the black creatures. I want them to use any method other than killing them, you never know what information we can get about Orochimaru. She tells the man, who nods then disappears. You are all dismissed. Tsunade tells them, feeling a bit bad about having such a strange meeting, which totally wasn't her fault for forgetting about it and falling asleep. Konoha jail minor warning for minor torture *tilde. Both scientists slowly woke up and found themselves tied up to chairs in cells close to each other. Both found themselves to be in basic prison garb. What the hell happened? One of them grumbled, feeling pain all over his body. We were caught by those damn ninjas, seeing as our guards weren't worth shit, the other grumbled. Great, but what the fuck are they doing now? I already told them that I won't talk unless I get some special treatment. Not some metal chair in a cell. Kukuku, well if you want special treatment, I will happily give it to ya. Enko tells the men with a wide smirk. Course both men ignored the minor amount of Ki that was leaking off of her and instead were focused on her body. Well, now this is what I was talking about. How about setting me free and we can go somewhere to start? The man said with his eyes still stuck on her barely covered curves. Now there is no need to leave your new room. We can have all the fun we want right here. She told him, finally reaching his cage and opened the door. I am sorry miss, but while I have no complaints about starting our fun right away, I don't really think I could enjoy it properly in a horrible place like this. He tells her with a blush on his face as Anko walked into the room and stood in front of him. But if you really must, I wouldn't be opposed to trying it if it's your thing. He told her, surprised that she leaned over him with her smirk ever present. Good. Anko told him with her sweet smile, until she quickly grabbed a long needle from her pouch and stabbed it into the side of his knee. What the fuck? He cried out, trying to squirm, but his restraints held firm. Anko then grabbed his face with one hand and forced him to look at her. But you told me that you wanted to start here, seeing as it's my thing. She told him with her smile now sadistic. This is not what I fucking meant. I thought we were going to have some fun. I am not into this freaky shit. Oh, well I'm so sorry, but that's not the fun I meant. Anko told him, pulling out a few more needles. Too bad, it seems that you truly have no idea how us ninja really get our information. She told him, licking one of the needles. Kukuku, you poor foolish civilians, and those stupid perverted books make this much more common than you think. She told them honestly. Oh okay, what do you want? He asked, now terrified. Come on, you are supposed to be smart. We want to know everything about those disgusting creatures you bastards have created. Anko tells him before slowly dragging a needle over his clothes. And it is my job to get that information out of you. Now we can do this the easy way or my fun way. She tells him. Oh okay, just don't hurt me please. The man told her, practically shaking in his boots. "I'll tell you whatever you want. Just let me go after this, please," he begged. If you are good we will think about it. But as long as you talk we won't have to hurt you," she told him. "No, you can't tell. Remember they told us that if we told anyone besides other researchers, they will hunt us down and do stuff worse than death to us." The other man called out from his cage. "Oh, but what make you think that I won't do worse to you right now?" Enko told them, releasing a larger amount of ki, making both of the men sweat. "Che, why you think you are so tough? Lord Orochimaru is much scarier than you ever could even think about being," the other scientist told her. Now hold on a minute here. It's not me saying this," the man she was in the cell with told her. "So you think that snake bastard is better than me?" Enko mutters darkly. "Well, let's see what you think after I show you some of my special techniques," she told him darkly, quickly going over to his cell. As she walked towards him, several small snakes slithered out of her sleeves and quickly dropped to the floor. They then made their way to the man and quickly bit him all over his body. "Ow. Hey, is this all you got?" "Just a few small snakes," the man told her, trying to hide the pain he felt. Course Enko said nothing and instead just watched him squirm for a few minutes before finally drawing a kunai. She then calmly drags the knife, slowly made a shallow cut on his chest through his shirt. She then watched with a smirk as the man's eyes widened and he let out a loud yell due to pain. "Oh, I am glad you like my surprise so much. You see, my precious little babies here were specially grown to have a poison that is particularly nasty. You see, while it doesn't cause a lot of pain by itself, what it does do is much more sinister. It attacks your nerves, making them much more sensitive to basically everything. Light, touch, pleasure, heat, cold, and my personal favorite, pain." Enko tells him, throwing a few needles into him in non-lethal areas as she said the final word. "Ack, Kami, damn it. Okay, I am sorry," he tells her honestly, his tough guy resolve breaking quickly. What was that?" "Sorry, well, I hate to tell you, but that doesn't work in my industry. You are my subjects that I can do whatever I want with you as long as the village gets the info they want. A dog like you doesn't just get to insult their master and get away with just a simple sorry, especially after saying that man's name," she told him coldly. No, please," he tells her, scared. "Kukuku, don't worry, I will make sure to give you an experience you never will forget. After all, pain is a great reason for people to tell the truth," Enko told the man with her cold smile present on her face. Tilda a ways away from Enko. "Tilda, are you sure it was a good idea to let Enko take the lead with those men?" Inoichi asks, hearing screams of pain and pleading. Ibiki just looks over at the man. "If you want to stop her, feel free. You know how she is when it comes to Orochimaru," he tells the man, who is understandably hesitant. "But that is what has me worried. What if she goes too far?" Inoichi asks. "Well, we have you getting paid here for a reason," Ibiki tells him, simply taking a sip of tea. "But don't worry, she promised me she wouldn't make an example out of one of them. And while Enko is more than willing to ignore May things, I am sure that she has never gone back on her word, well, at least to her teammates." Ibiki tells him. "Okay then, but you know, on any subject I would prefer for them to be alive when I have to search their mind. If they protected their mind strong enough, it is very possible that I would be unable to break through their mind before it is completely destroyed. It's fine. Most of our subjects never get to that point with Enko and my methods around," Ibiki tells him with smirk that made cold shivers go down Inoichi's spine. "Okay," he tells the scared man with a weak smile of his own. "I am always so glad these two are on our side. While I am confident in my ability to gather information, these two somehow are even better than I am, and I can read their minds." Inoichi thinks, a bit annoyed with this fact. Still, he wasn't complaining about having an easier job. Plus, few days later. "Now are you sure that you don't have any more information for me?" Enko asks sweetly to the scientist that was sitting in a chair in front of her. Though now, instead of confidence and cockiness showing on him, he seemed to be a broken man. For he wasn't even trying to get out of the restraints holding him and had an emotionless face. "Hi, Enko-sama, I promise that is all that I was ever told about anything related to the snake," he told her simply. "Kukuku, perfect," Enko told him with a smirk as she got close to him. "I just wanted to make sure, after all, today we finally got good news, Since you have been so good, Lady Tsunade has finally given me permission to let you go. She told him, noticing the bit of hope that rose in the man's eyes. Really? I am finally allowed to see the outside world again? The man asked with tears in his eyes. Oh, thank God I can finally get away from this hell. He muttered, only to feel a blade pressed on his throat. He then looked up at Anko, who was holding the blade with a smile on her face. Thank you for your service in protecting Konoha. She told him simply before cutting his throat, making him bleed out within a few moments. But one must remember that loose lips can cause more problems for you in the future. She told the now dead man simply as she whipped the blood off of her kunai. She looked at the corpse and did honestly feel a small amount of pity for the man, but she hardened her heart years ago. After all, if Orochimaru found out that they knew any information, and chances are that he would change his plan so drastically that their information was useless. She only felt a bit of pity, seeing as the man truly didn't know how ninjas work. After all, any ninja would know what to expect after breaking during a torture session. My job is finally done. I just hope that Tsunade can mess with the snake bastard's plans a lot. It would make my day so much better to hear that my task caused that bastard trouble. Anko says, happily imagining the man's face when his grand plans were ruined. Hokage Tower. Tsunade was calmly reading through the report of all the information that T and I got for her. She was rather happy to finally have more information to go off of other than just Sakura's study on these Daku. Things are finally looking up for our ability to stop that snake finally. She thinks with a smirk, but was brought out of her thoughts by Shizune running into the office. Sigh, of course something comes up just when I was thinking I could relax for a while. She thought, annoyed. Lady Tsunade, we have urgent messages from the other hidden villages. Shizune told her, instantly getting the woman's complete attention. What? Tsunade said, seeing as talking between hidden villages doesn't happen too often, let alone all of the hidden villages. Due to this, she quickly took the few scrolls Shizune had and quickly read through each message. Much to her surprise though, it turned out that each one of them was basically around the same thing. It seems that Orochimaru didn't just send out an attack force on a fire country, but after many major and minor countries' towns as well. Just what is this snake planning right now? Tsunade muttered. I really don't know what Orochimaru's planning right now. After all, even if he has a village of his own now, there is no way he can handle things if he went to war with more than 1 or 2 villages at once. But yet here he is attacking practically every country. Does he have a death wish? Well, either way, it is no concern of mine if he really wants to die so soon. Still, this does leave a chance for me to be able to get on more friendly terms with the other villages. Tsunade thinks with a smirk, setting down the reports of everyone being attacked and looked over at Shizune. Shizune, send word out to all the villages that sent us these reports that we will help them recover from the attacks. And give each one of them the information we have received on these Daku creatures, but keep the information about Orochimaru out of theirs. Tsunade orders, knowing that each Kajin leader would fully understand that she was making them basically over one. Something that doesn't mean much in a world of ninja, but at least she was closer to being on peaceful and or friendly terms with them. Hi, Shizune says with a small smile as she easily saw what Tsunade's plan was and approved of it. So, with that in mind, she quickly went to go set up several messages to send out as quickly as possible. It seems that even though Orochimaru has done many horrible things recently, he unintentionally given us a golden opportunity. Shizune thinks happily. Meanwhile, in Tsunade's office, she quickly went back to her normal work, only to be interrupted again by her office window opening up. Oh, what a rare sight. You actually are happy in this office. Jiraiya says happily as he opened the window and entered the office. And where have you been? You haven't sent a message in ages with a report. I swear if you went on another inspiration journey, you are going to spend the next month in the hospital. Tsunade told him with a glare. Oi, I wouldn't do that, right now. But I have been busy for a while. He told her, pulling out a scroll that he tosses at her. She sent him an untrusting look, but still opened the scroll and began reading while her eyes slowly widened. This is what you were working on? Tsunade asks, surprised. Of course, after all he is my godson. I wanted to make sure that he could have the best life he could. After all, I wasn't able to help him during his childhood thanks to those council bastards sending me on so many missions. Jiraiya answers seriously. All you need to do is read it over and make sure you approve as well, and we can get the show on the road. Give me a day to go over this and we will get him, and probably the others girls as well. But I have to be honest. I never expected you to have been working on this for him. I figured they were just too busy with other things to pester me about doing it myself. Tsunade told the smiling man. Hey, like I said, I got the brat covered. Not to mention he is surely going to be the source of a lot of inspiration in the future. Jiraiya told her and left, just dodging a cup that Tsunade threw at him. Damn pervert, she muttered but continued reading. Orochimaru, graveyard. Orochimaru was currently standing in the graveyard calmly waiting as a couple grunts worked on digging up a few graves. He stood there calmly until finally he could see a casket that was pretty severely rotten away. Open it. Orochimaru told the group, who gained a disgusted look on their faces but still obeyed him and broke away the top of the remaining casket. This of course showed a rotting corpse. There isn't even any loot in here. Why the hell did we bother? One of the grunts grumbled, only to be ignored. Instead, Orochimaru moved past them and smiled when he saw that there was some tissue left on the bones of the corpse. Well, that makes things easier, Orochimaru mutters with his grin never leaving his face as he collected some of the tissue. What the hell are you talking about? There is nothing of worth here. One of the grunts growled out before taking a moment to realize who he just lashed out at. I am sorry, Lord Orochimaru, I wasn't thinking. The man apologized, clearly terrified. Still, Orochimaru just looked at the man before placing his hand on the man's head. Please my lord, I won't disobey you ever again. The man told him, his eyes dilated in complete terror of his boss. But instead of saying anything, Seals quickly spread over the man and moved on to become a complicated seal on the floor. No, please, not this. Please, I promise I will never do anything to disobey you again, just spare me. The man begged, but Orochimaru's expression never changed. Summoning impure world reincarnation, he said instead, and watched as the horrified man's life faded from his eyes and a bunch of paper-like material covered his body. Soon after, instead of the grunt, the man that stood in front of Orochimaru became a random Kumo ninja. A fact that made Orochimaru frown. Who are you? Orochimaru asks the man. Arashi Hosaki, a proud Jonin of Kumo. Why am I here? The man told Orochimaru while glancing around at the graveyard. Sadly, before he could start moving, he quickly was desummoned and his body sank into the ground. Another failure. Orochimaru muttered before beginning to walk away from the site. Come on, there are several more spots we have to collect samples from before we are discovered. Orochimaru calls out at the grunts that looked at each other, clearly horrified, but followed after their leader, knowing that they really had no choice. Kukuku, you think you are so smart trying to hide where he was put to rest, but I will eventually find the ninja I am looking for, and it is next to impossible for you to have gotten rid of all the genetic material their remains have. Orochimaru thinks, knowing that he has already created several summons using ashes of the dead. Let's just hope that the Kabuto is having better luck on his end. He thought for while he was currently in Kumo, his most trusted servant was currently in Iwa looking for various other ninja. Iwa base camp. Hey, I know helping Kabuto-sama would lead to big things for me. A small woman mutters happily as she sat in front of a large desk reading a few papers while people moved around the room she was in. Oi, one of you give me some reports of how our mission is going. She ordered and was quickly given several papers. This is perfect. Our targets are small useless villages that people have no reason to care about, so they won't be defended well. Not to mention the troops we are sending out all contain at least 100 Daku and one team of ninja. There is no way we can lose. She thinks happily while taking a quick sip of her tea. Let's see, teams 1 to 4 have reported that their attacks went perfectly with no problems. Team 5 and 6 had some minor losses but overall managed to collect enough subjects to resupply. But what is this? Perfect. Soon Kabuto-sama will be so amazed with my mission's progress that he will finally accept my love. She thinks happily, reading that many teams have doubled or even tripled the amount of Daku they had, along with getting whatever valuables they could from the towns. Hey, what about the ones that attacked near the ninja villages? Those bastards were supposed to report 2 days ago. She told the group angrily. Madam, we have yet. Damn it, if you haven't got anything out, you should have sent someone to check on them yesterday. She growled out at the group. Listen up, you pencil pushers, this is the first mission I have been given control of since I became a Chunin, and I will not it fail, even if I have to show you idiots why you are servants to the proud ninja of this village. She told them, releasing some key, intimidating the civilians around her. My lady, we have sent someone out and their report has just came in, but the news is far from good. A man beside her admitted, holding out a few papers. It seems that the ninja from each village were able to mobilize fast enough to completely wipe out the attack force. No matter that is on those people for being too weak. Overall, my mission has been a success. She tells the group, throwing the papers onto the desk uncaringly. After all, with the number of bodies each scout saw, there was no way the villages were smart enough to leave any alive. She then sat back in her chair and relaxed. Kukuku, soon enough you will come back, Kabuto-kun, and after seeing the success and new soldiers my mission have brought us, you will be happy enough to finally fall in love with me. Then I can finally fulfill my desire to be a higher power in this nasty town and get some strong children. She mutters happily. After all, why would both Orochimaru and Kabuto allow her to start a mission like this while they left if they didn't trust her? It must just be a test to see if she is worth of being a bigger part of the village like they were. Mainly leaving this here, seeing as while this mission was mainly, as you guessed, just showing the world Orochimaru's power, it still was a mission. And while they are both out collecting their samples, it has to be controlled by someone, so who better than a crazed fan of them? Konoha. Couple of days later. Hey girls, you were summoned as well. Naruto asked, surprised to see all of his girlfriends standing in the main lobby of the Hokage Tower. It seems so, but I don't know why. Ino told him simply. Yeah, I mean even I was summoned. Ayame told them, knowing that there was very little she could actually do to help out with ninja missions. Still, they didn't get to talk for long before the receptionist told them they were good to into the office. Well, I guess there is one way to find out. Haku tells them, simply following the receptionist up the stairs. Meanwhile, the rest of the group just shrugs at each other and follows both of them along. Though much to their surprise, when they enter the office, they see not only Tsunade but Shizune, Jiraiya, and even Shikaku. Okay, what is going on? Naruto asked. Hello all of you, I am glad that all of you came so early. Tsunade told them, sitting at her desk with her fingers crossed in front of her. You see, Jiraiya has been working on something for the past couple of weeks. Naruto, you remember Shizuka-san, correct? Tsunade asks. Yeah, I remember Shizuka-chan. How is she doing? Naruto asked with a smile, remembering that he was friends with her. Sigh, please tell me you remember how her last visit to this village. Tsunade tells Naruto, who tries to remember for a moment only to gain a slight blush. Why, yeah, we have to get married. But I thought we postponed that for good, seeing as the villages couldn't agree. Naruto told her, honestly expecting them to forget about the marriage or taking years to fully figure out what to do. Naruto, what you don't realize is that her village takes their marriage battles very seriously. So, thankfully Jiraiya spent the time needed to properly figure out a plan that would be best for both villages. If not, they surely would have sent several messengers to pester me to try and figure it out without being able to fully think about it while everything else is going on. But anyways, on to my main point. Tomorrow I expect you to meet me and Jiraiya at the village gate so that we can bring you to finally get married. Tsunade explains, making Naruto and the girls shocked. But this is so sudden. Naruto tells her, making her shake her head. You knew about this since after you won you fight with her, don't blame me. Tsunade told him with a glare. And we called you girls here to let you know what was going on as well, seeing as you are just as involved in these matters with the blonde as he is. So, it is up to you girls, but if you wish to come with us you are more than welcome. Tsunade tells the girls, who not already making their decision, though Hinata looked to be depressed. Yet another girl steals one of his firsts before I can. She mutters, trying to figure out if her father would let her get away with quickly planning a wedding right before they needed to leave. But Tsunade-sama, if you are traveling with us, then who will be taking care of the village? Ino asked, confused. Very good of you for remembering that after this shocking news. Tsunade told the girl, a bit proud that she thought about that, even though she was probably still shocked out of her mind. But that is why Shikaku is here. Tsunade explains, motioning to the man. I just finished explaining the plan to him, so he is more than willing to lead the village in any matters that may arise while we are on this trip, and I trust his judgment. And besides, if the worst case scenario somehow occurs, I already have my successor picked and the council will inform them. Tsunade informs them, seeing as this was the normal protocol for when the Hokage leaves the village. But what? Naruto begins but is so surprised that he is at a loss of words. Sigh, I get that it is a shock Naruto, but this is just how our world is. Just accept this and the agreement that I was forced to make and meet us tomorrow, or I will find you. Tsunade told him with a look that promised nothing but pain if it came to that. What was the agreement? Haku asked, curious, making Jiraiya gain a large grin. Well, you see, in order for their village to agree to let their future leader travel to our village so much, they want to make sure that they will continue to have a successor before allowing such a thing to occur. So, Tsunade began before Jiraiya began to giggle perversely. So, she is currently being prepared, and on the night of your wedding you are to knock her up, and won't be allowed home until the job is done. Well, and probably won't even be able to leave the room, if they do it properly, Jiraiya tells Naruto with his perverted blush still on his face. Course, when they heard this, the younger generation had a few very different reactions. For Naruto's case, his face quickly turned beet red and fainted. Meanwhile, Hinata was now kneeling in a corner facing the wall, making small circles with her finger. Another one of his first is taken from me, she muttered, depressed. While she did this, it took the rest of the girls a while to reboot before they finally processed all of what Tsunade told them. What? They all yelled loud enough for it to echo through the building. Chapter 78. Hokage Tower. Why, you mean they want us to get married then have a kid right away? Naruto asked in disbelief. After all, while they were all adults now, he still had no dreams of being a parent until the distant future. Sigh, I know it is a scary idea and that you defitlently aren't ready to be a proper parent, but if you two want the freedom. But if you really don't want to, you two could wait for a while, but then you would be required to stay in their village until they have an heir. Sadly, with Orochimaru on the move currently and your special circumstances, the village will need your abilities as well. Tsunade told him with a frown. For while she didn't want to think about it, she knew that if there was going to be a war, the council would try their hardest to force her to get their Jinchuriki back in action. She already was hiding the fact from the blonde that the council will most likely force her to make the blonde produce a child in their village to keep his bloodline if a war starts anyways. As much as I want to take my time and really get to know my girlfriends before we even think about creating a family, I really want to help stop the snake. Naruto thinks with a frown. For while he didn't want to rush into something like creating a family until the girls and him were fully ready, he also wanted to make sure Orochimaru didn't have his way. For while he knew that the village had plenty of ninja ready to face Orochimaru, he wanted to be there as well just in case. Well, I have to marry Shizuka-chan anyways to keep our villages on peaceful terms. I guess I will just have to talk to her before making that decision, Naruto finally decides. Well, seeing as I have no choice, I guess I will prepare for my wedding at least. As for the rest, well, I believe Shizuka-chan has a place in discussing it before deciding anything. Naruto told Tsunade, who nodded in agreement. He then turned towards the rest of the women in the room. So, what do you girls want to do? Don't think that you need to come with us just because of me. Naruto told them all. Che, what are you saying, Narubaka? Ino asks with a frown. You should be happy you get to marry a girl already. Not to mention you get all of us. Ino says, knowing that Shizuka was a proud kunoichi despite not knowing much about her. She then gets a teasing smile as she pokes him in the chest. And don't you dare think you are going to take away my chance of dressing up for a proper wedding. Hehehe, I got the best excuse to make my father get me some more fancy clothes. She tells him, happy, making most people around her sweat drop. Well, besides that, I am sure all of us are willing to go with you in order to support our boyfriend like girlfriends should. Haku tells Naruto with a small frown at Ino's way of thinking. Course, seeing as we are in a harem, I don't even know if my way of thinking should change at all. Haku thought, seeing as she had no clue if normal boyfriend-girlfriend rules apply in this case. I would love to agree with Haku-san, but would a civilian like me be able to travel with all of you? I mean, don't you want to take longer just because I want to go as well? Ayame asked, nervous. After all, it wasn't smart to have a cage outside of a ninja village for longer than necessary, no matter how strong they are. Hey, don't worry Ayame-san, that blonde idiot next to you will just create a clone to carry you, and we will go a bit slower to keep our speed at a safe level for you if you want to go. Jiraiya told her with a smirk as his student sent a glare in his direction. And hopefully with you there he will have one more girl to party with on the wedding night. He, I can't wait to see what material I can get from him. But what should the book's name be? Jiraiya thinks with a perverted grin on the mental image of himself. You better not be thinking about anything perverted there, bastard. Tsunade thinks with a small frown before focusing on Ayame. Yes, Ayame-san, if you really want to come, feel free. She told them with a kind smile that Ayame quickly shared. Thank you, Tsunade-sama. She told her, making it clear what her answer is without actually saying it. No problem. Now everyone meet up with me here at 7 am, and just in case you need to be told, bring at least 2 weeks worth of supplies. But Naruto, you are required to set up everything for Ayame except her clothes. Tsunade ordered the ninja. Hey, don't worry Ba-chan, I promise that I'll take care of my Harem. He tells her with a smile while Ayame blushes embarrassed. Baka, she mutters, trying her hardest to keep her blush hidden. Cough cough, everyone go prepare. Tsunade orders while hiding the fact that she was amused with the scene in front of her. But with that being said, the group broke up and went their separate ways. Naruto and Ayame. After they left the office, Naruto followed Ayame as she walked out of the office. Okay, so Ayame-chan, when you get home you should get your 2 weeks of clothes set up. Actually, you will probably want more just in case, seeing as your clothes aren't as durable. Make sure you also grab a decent amount of stuff to keep yourself entertained and stuff like a swimsuit just in case. Finally, make sure that you dress in something comfortable for the journey tomorrow. Naruto told Ayame calmly. Will we be able to bring that much? I mean, there is only so much you guys can carry, right? Ayame asked, seeing as that much supplies would fill up at least 2 or 3 bags just for her. Course, she then heard her boyfriend laughing. Oi, stop laughing, I am being serious here. She tells him, quickly turning around and glaring at him. Sadly, for her, said glare was cute more than anything else. Ha ha ha, I am sorry Ayame-chan. It is just that I forget how much normal civilians don't realize about us ninja. Naruto tells her honestly, patting her shoulder, trying to calm her. While we carry tools and stuff in various pouches around our body, they are only so that we can be ready immediately. For things that we don't use all the time, such as spare clothes, we use storage scrolls to cut down on the bulk and weight dramatically. This is why when you look into a ninja shop, there is always a bunch of scrolls for sale. Most of them are simply empty storage scrolls, seeing as most of us carry around quite a lot of them. In fact, they are so common that it wouldn't be surprising at all for each ninja to have at least a dozen scrolls ready at any time. Naruto explained. I never realized. I just always saw you guys carrying around random bags and assumed you carried everything in there. Ayame told Naruto. Well, I guess I'll get everything ready. Do you need me to help with anything else? No, not really. I can take care of the regular traveling supplies, you just need to take care of your personal stuff. Naruto told her after thinking for a minute. Perfect. Thank you, Naru-kun. Ayame tells Naruto with a smile. Then that will leave me plenty of time to see if the other girls want to come with me to get a proper kimono. She told him with a smile, making Naruto chuckle. Well, have fun then. Actually, you know what? Here. Naruto tells her, handing her a wad of money. With me being so busy, I haven't been able to spend as much time with you as I would like. How about I buy whatever dress you want? Naruto tells her, making said girl's eyes widen. Are you sure, Naruto-kun? She asked the blonde, seeing as she figured that she would have used the money she saved up from working for the last month to buy her outfit. I'm sure, Ayame-chan. Besides, that would have just been the amount of money that I used on ramen if I was here. He told her with a large smile, making Ayame look at the money she had. I guess ninja really do make loads more money than us civilians. Ayame couldn't help but think, seeing as she never realized just how much money Naruto spent on ramen on a regular basis. But she soon pushed that thought away till a later time and instead gained a mischievous smirk. She then leaned close to Naruto and kissed his cheek. Thank you, Naru-kun. Just for that I will make sure the lingerie is just as fancy for you. She told Naruto, then left him while giggling to herself. Meanwhile, Naruto was left frozen in place with a blush on his face. Mainly due to the fact that his mind was now filled with Ayame in various forms of enticing lingerie. Before he finally was able to clear his head and continue on his walk home. Who knew that girls had their perverted moments just like guys, or are my girlfriends just special? Naruto thought as he continued his walk. Note that I really have no idea what marriages are like for ninja Japanese. So, while I may do a bit of research, I will also be taking a decent bit from American weddings. But I am at least assuming that dress codes are more kimonos than suits for weddings in Japanese. History. Plus next morning, village gate plus. Tsunade sat calmly at the gate's guard post waiting for the rest of the group to show up. Normally she would have been one of the last people to show up, but Shizune forced her to come early in order to both meet the Anbu task to protect her but to also give them orders. For while she wanted to follow the village's rules about protecting cages, she also had no desire to have to deal with them reacting to the smallest thing. After all, when you can kill someone by basically poking them in the head, there wasn't much need for help from things like bandits. Oh, didn't think I'd see you this early. Jiraiya calls out to Tsunade from a ways away. Che, don't remind me, I wanted to sleep for at least another hour. Tsunade told him, then took a sip of a glass of tea she had a guard get her a few minutes ago. As lazy as ever. Jiraiya muttered, only to notice Tsunade's hold on the cup began to crack the material. Cough, I mean at least you get to enjoy a nice glass of tea. He quickly told her, hoping to avoid her rage. TCH, fuck tea. I would have gotten booze if I didn't promise Shizune that I'd remain sober while we travel. Tsunade muttered, taking another sip of the tea. Flashback. What do you mean I can't drink during this trip? You know how long I am going to be stuck with the brat. No way am I going to stay sober and have to listen to him. Tsunade told Shizune and slammed her fist down on her desk, gentle enough to not break it. But Tsunade-sama, even though you are an S-rank ninja, we still must make every precaution we can to make sure you stay completely safe. Shizune tells her with a frown. Oh, and you expect Anbu to be able to deal with something I can't? Tsunade asks with a raised eyebrow. You know that's not what I meant. Shizune mutters before sighing. I really didn't want it to come to this. She told Tsunade simply before walking closer to her teacher. What's that? Lady Tsunade, I am sure that you are well acquainted with all of the paperwork we have here, correct? Shizune starts seeing Tsunade visibly flinch at the thought of the work. Now thankfully, with the help of a few others and me, we are able to cut down on the amount you need to go through. But you know it's a lot of hard work for us. So much in fact that it is oh so easy for work to get backed up, and now with you leaving for a while, who knows how much could stack up. Shizune told her boss with a smile as she saw the older women pale a bit. Now normally I could prevent this from happening, but if I hear of my cage being careless during her journey, I would be so nervous that I just couldn't help but let some work fall through the cracks, and of course the only way I could ever catch up would be with you doing a few all-nighters. Shizune told Tsunade, who gulped. Why you wouldn't dare. Tsunade told her weakly. Try me. After all, a certain woman taught me to take my problems head on. Shizune told her with a visou smile on her face. Damn you, fine, I will be good during the trip. Tsunade mumbled out with a frown. Great. Thank you for being so considerate, Lady Tsunade. Shizune told her with a happy smile before walking out of the office. Since when has she gained a pair? Tsunade couldn't help but ask herself. Flashback end. After remembering yesterday's meeting, Tsunade couldn't help but glance at the spots where she knew her guards were, wondering if any of them were ordered to tattle on her if she acted up. Che, whatever happened to them only listening to me? Tsunade mentally complained. Both her and Jiraiya then waited about 10 more minutes before all of the girls came together, including Ayame, with a few of them carrying rather large bags. Good morning, Lady Tsunade, Lord Jiraiya. Ayame greets both of them with a smile. Morning all of you, but what's with the unsealed luggage? Jiraiya asked, curious. Oh, sorry, it's mine. I got so focused on finding the best outfit that I didn't have time to have Naruto come over and grab it for me. Ayame admitted, seeing as by the time she got all packed up it was time for her to get some sleep. Thankfully the rest of Naruto's girlfriends came over to collect her as she was saying goodbye to her dad and were willing to help out. Yeah, and I thought I overpacked. Ino teased, making Ayame blush a bit. Naruto told me to make sure I packed more clothes than needed. Ayame muttered. Don't worry Ayame-san, it doesn't matter. We would seal it up for you now if you want. Haku tells her calmly. But seeing as she wanted the supplies Naruto put aside for her to be in the same place or the rest of her stuff to keep organized. So, she politely denied the girl's offer. Then after a few minutes more Naruto joined the group as well and happily did just that. Okay, now let's get ready to go. Naruto told the group with a smile and quickly created a clone. Said clone quickly scooped Ayame up into a princess hold, causing the girl to let out a surprised eep. Hey, seems like you are getting the going to have a good trip, brat. Jiraiya told Naruto with a perverted grin. They all then watched as both Naruto and Ayame blushed. Anyways, let's get moving, Tsunade ordered, and they all got in formation. With Naruto and his girlfriends surrounding Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naruto's clone. They then moved out of the village and began to travel at the fastest pace that Ayame could safely handle. Due to this, they made a large amount of progress with their journey before nightfall finally hit, and they began to set up a campground. A task that took the large group only about an hour, until they had 2 smaller tents and 2 larger tents set up around a campfire. Making 1 tent for Tsunade, 1 for Naruto and Jiraiya, and the other 2 for the girls to stay in. Finally, after a quick meal, they decided on the rotation plan for guarding the camp, and most of them finally fell asleep. Currently it was Ino and Hinata's turn, and both of the girls sat around the fire. Mou, I still can't believe that more of Naru-kun's firsts are being taken. Hinata complained with a frown as Ino shook her head. Hinata, I really don't understand your way of thinking at times. I mean, you are perfectly fine with Naruto having a harem, but yet when other girls do things with him then you complain. Ino told the girl who glared at her. I don't care if they do things with him, that's just part of relationships. But it is completely different when I didn't get a chance to do it with him first. I was the first person he got with, so I should always go first. Hinata complained. Your mindset is really strange, Ino muttered, seeing as she still could not wrap her mind around Hinata's thought process. After all, if it was that important to her, she would have just had Naruto not date anyone else until they finally decided to have kids. I'm talking about Hinata-chan's strange habits. Ayame asked, making both girls turn to her as she walked to the logs they were sitting on. What are you doing up? Ino asked as Ayame sat down across from them. I couldn't sleep, not that it matters seeing as I'm not actually doing anything. Ayame told them honestly with a small frown. Anyways, mind if I join your conversation? Ayame asked them with a smile as Ino just shrugged. Wasn't too much of a conversation. Hinata's just still upset that Naruto's first are taken from her, even though she had no problems with him dating more girls. Ino explained. Mou, you don't understand. The village required Naruto marry multiple girls and DL Fagid, Hinata told them before muttering the last part quiet enough that the other 2 couldn't understand her. What was that? Ino asked while Ayame just smirked. She probably was thinking something along the lines of wanting to use some of the material in her books. Ayame told them, making Ino confused and Hinata blush. I have no idea what you were talking about. Hinata told them, looking the other direction. Oh, so, that orange book you had in a shopping bag years ago was just my imagination? Ayame asked, making Hinata blush some more. Flashback. Hinata just got out of school and walked through the village until she reached a specific alleyway. She then quickly looked around with her eyes active to make sure there was no one around before finally going into the alley. She then quickly went through several hand seals and became a rather ordinary-looking woman who appeared to be in her mid-20s. After her henge was complete, she quickly walked back out of the alley with a smile on her face and entered a nearby bookstore. She then bought the newest copy of a certain perverted book before re-entering the alley and stopped the jutsu. Finally, she happily walked back through the village with a smile on her face. I can't wait to get home and start reading Lord Jiraiya's next masterpiece. Hinata thinks happily before feeling her stomach rumble a bit. So, she quickly decided to put reading on hold for a moment and quickly went to get some food from one of her favorite stalls. So, she quickly ended up at Ichiraku ramen stand and sat down at the stool. Course it partially became one of her favorites due to the chance of seeing her crush appear next to her. But that wasn't today, so instead she just carelessly sat the bag that contained her book onto the counter and placed her order. So how have you been since I last saw you? Ayame asked Hinata kindly as they waited for her father to cook her order. I am pretty good, Ayame-san, just excited to get home and read my new book. Hinata tells her with a smile, patting the bag. Course she failed to realize that by doing so a corner of the orange book was now visible to Ayame. Well, have fun reading that different book. Ayame told her, not too sure how to feel about seeing a younger girl with one of the worst porn books made in the elemental nations. Course this strange reaction confused Hinata until she glanced over to her bag and finally noticed that Ayame could partially look into it. Ah, this isn't what it looks like. Hinata told her with a heavy blush. Hey, whatever you want to read, I won't judge. Ayame told her honestly. After all, what kind of professional would she be if she judged a paying customer for something as minor as a book? Just don't tell anyone. Hinata orders Ayame. Hi. Don't worry, I won't. Promise me. Hinata told her firmly, making Ayame blink in surprise. Okay, I promise I won't tell anyone. Ayame told the girl before grabbing her food from her father. Honestly, it seems like one of the requirements for ninja is to have some weird hobby or something. Ayame thought as she watched the younger girl eat her meal. Flashback end. You promised you wouldn't say anything about that. Hinata growled out, glaring at Ayame. Oh, come on. Eventually we are all going to be living in the same house. We were going to find out sooner or later about your secret. Ayame told Hinata firmly, but saw that Hinata's glare didn't weaken at all. Hold on a second. What are you two talking about? Ino asked, confused. Course this time Ayame just looked over to Hinata, who eventually just sighed. I might have a hobby to occasionally read Ikea. Hinata told her with a blush on her cheeks. Never really expected that. I mean, I know that she stalked Naruto, but I never would have guessed the princess of Konoha was a porn lover, but it makes sense when you think about it, I guess. Ino tells them, making Hinata blush even more. But tell me, did you plan on trying to fix your problem by using those books during the wedding night? Ino asked with a teasing smirk. She then watched as Hinata's blush became even worse as her eyes glazed over, lost in her own little world. A while later, before either could think of any way to pull her from her thoughts, Hinata had a small amount of blood come out of her nose and fainted with a happy smile on her face. Well, I did not expect that, Ino said, amused by her reaction. She then paid more attention to their surroundings until Hinata woke up from her fainting spell. After this happened, Ino began to tease Hinata a bit more often, but other than that their trip was relatively boring until they finally saw the village come into their view. Finally here. Naruto says happily as he walks in front of the group. Oh, I taught you well, me boy. So, excited to reach a village he knows he'll get laid in. Jiraiya says with a smile as he knew Naruto's face just became a tomato. No, that's not why I was meaning at all. I just meant that the trip was finally over, not that I was excited to do that. Naruto told the group, making them all smile at how embarrassed Naruto was. I'll allow that perverted comment to go unpunished, seeing as the brat's face is so funny. Tsunade told Jiraiya. Hey, quit making fun of me. Naruto growled out at the group. Then stop making it too easy. Tsunade told Naruto, not feeling any pity for him. After all, she had to get back at him, constantly calling her granny somehow. Chapter 79 Forest, Dusk. The group of Konoha ninja were making great progress on their way towards Nashiko village when they finally decided to stop and rest for the night. So, they quickly set up several tents and after eating quickly went to their tents, except for those that were currently on watch duty. Night. Come on, just fall asleep already. Naruto mentally complained as he tossed and turned in his sleeping bag. For while he wanted to sleep and get a break from his restless thought, they fought valiantly against his efforts, making sleep nigh impossible. Sensing this, Naruto finally conceded to his lose and got out of the tent to feel the cool night air hit him in a gentle breeze. He then quickly closed the tent, trying his hardest to not wake up anyone else that was in the tent before walking over to the campfire they set up beforehand. Naruto then let out a heavy sigh as he sat down on a fallen log. Having trouble sleeping? Jiraiya asked his student calmly, sitting next to the younger man. No, just have too much going on in my head. Naruto admitted to his teacher. Hey, I know what you mean. If I was on my way to shack up with a beauty, I would be too excited to wait as well. Jiraiya told him, then didn't even try to dodge the punch that slammed into his side hard enough to make him hit the ground. Though he quickly got up and sat right back down in his original position, clearly not truly harmed at all. Baka pervert. If you are here just to bother me, you might as well continue to patrol around. Naruto growled at Jiraiya. Ma, but you aren't nearly as gloomy now that you got your mind on something else. He told Naruto with a teasing smile, but quickly got serious again. Seriously, Gaki, you are overthinking things here. Political marriages happen all the time in this world, just be happy that you two actually know and like each other already. But that's just it, I don't want a political marriage. I know Shizuka-chan only is marrying me due to the stupid rules her village has. I mean she is still grieving Sagiri-san for Kami's sake. I just wish there was some way I could free her from this so she could find someone she truly cares for again after coming to terms with the unfortunate death. Sigh, Naruto, I know you are truly kind and want to do your best to help your friends, but sometimes things are just out of your control. I agree that their rule of marriage through combat seems insane, but I also understand why they do this. As a smaller village, their goal is to keep producing only the strongest ninja they can. Due to this, the strongest family has only become stronger, leading to the Kage's family being the proper candidate to take the position for the last 2 generations. Due to this, Shizuka being able to spread the genes of their strength is something the village truly is counting on. Jiraiya explains. Okay, but that has nothing to do with my current situation. Naruto told him. No, but it does mean that even if you didn't get married to Shizuka, someone else eventually would. And who knows what kind of personality that man could have. After all, the only thing they base the marriage on strength, leading to a good chance that the male involved could most likely be a complete asshole that wants nothing else but to use her, in all forms of meaning. Jiraiya tells Naruto, making him growl at the thought. And that is why their program is horrible. It lets shitheads like that do what they want, and forces a girl that doesn't wish to marry to do so. Naruto says angrily, throwing another log into the fire. Yes, it has some errors, and trust me, the village has ways to quickly end such situations after they have properly produced a child. But that is not what I mean at the moment. Jiraiya tells him, trying to calm the younger man down. What I was going to say was that the best way you can help her might just end up being to follow her village's rules. For while they are forcing you to marry her and have a child, they are not forcing you to do anything else. So, after appeasing the village, you are free to give her all of the time that she needs to recover from her grieving. Jiraiya told Naruto, making his eyes widen. I guess that is true, but that is another issue I have. The idea of having a child right now is just crazy to me. I mean, I never thought I would even get to the point of having even a girlfriend due to my problem, Naruto said, placing a hand on his stomach. Anyways, I just don't know if I am truly ready to take care of a child. I mean, I would hardly say I have graduated from being a child myself. Naruto admitted. Hey, well, you don't need to worry about that much. After all, the little tyke will stay in Nashiko while you are still a working shinobi of Konoha. So, most of the raising will be up to Shizuka-san and her family. Jiraiya told Naruto with a smirk, then watched as the blonde's fist was clenched as veins were becoming present on Naruto's head as he stewed in anger. I'm kidding, Jiraiya quickly told him. But seriously, while I know you don't feel you are ready, that has never stopped you before. The brat I trained faced whatever problem I threw at him, no matter how daunting, without any fear of failure, and instead focused on how to make sure it went right. Jiraiya said with a smirk. Yay, but that has nothing to do with regular life. That is only when it comes to fighting. Naruto told him. Oh, is that so? So you just want to throw away your creed, huh? Jiraiya asked, making Naruto look at him in confusion. You gave your word that you would help this girl, and just because you are scared you won't give her the best option she has? Jiraiya asked, making Naruto even more surprised. But that has to do with being a ninja. Naruto began, only to be cut off. What's that? Do I hear someone running away from their word? Jiraiya asks, making Naruto quickly shut up, having no way to refute his words. Hey, in all honesty kid, while it will be a tough learning curve, I am sure that you will be able to figure it out. You somehow always have shit work out for your wants anyways. Jiraiya told him while mumbling the last part. Oh, are you sure? Naruto asks. Not at all. After all, this guy will never be stuck tied down to a kid. The bachelor life forever. Jiraiya tells Naruto with a wide goofy smile, clearly back to his goofy mode. Hey, thanks Jiraiya sensei, Naruto tells the old man with a true smile before getting up from the log. Now I guess I better get some rest, Naruto told him, now that for some reason his mind felt a bit clearer. So, he quickly went back to his tent and went inside. Hey, darn kid. Sometimes you act as wild and sporadic as Kushina was, and other times you are way too analytical like Minato-kun. You truly are their son. Though only you could get their best and worst traits at the same time. Jiraiya muttered as he looked at the tent the blonde entered. For Kushina was always thought to be dumber than she actually was simply due to her not wanting to focus on boring things and never sat still. Meanwhile Minato always thought out everything he did sometime to the point where he stressed himself out by overthinking. Jiraiya simply stood there watching the tent for about another minute before finally deciding he should get back to his patrol and continued to watch their surroundings. Few days later. After Naruto and Jiraiya's talk, the rest of the trip went as smooth as possible. Though most of this was probably due to the two Sannin that were currently in the middle of their group, though another big part was probably due to the Anbu that followed loyally after their Hokage. Still, this didn't matter. Instead, what truly mattered was that they finally reached the village where the current leader was waiting calmly with Shizuka standing next to her family. "Lady Hokage-sama, what a pleasure to meet you," Shizuka's mother told Tsunade kindly. "And you as well, Joseikage-sama," Tsunade replied, keeping their greeting respectful. "And, please, if you readers have any better idea for the leader of their village, PM me your idea and the meaning. Right now I have it as, Women's Shadow, according to Google, which personally sounds very strange, but the leaders are cages. Also, if there is an actual name for Shizuka's parents, it would be appreciated as well, seeing as I will be giving them names rather than just saying, her mother, and, her father, gets old fast. I trust that your journey to our village went well," Shizuka's mother stated before looking at Naruto. "And I see that our husband to be is present as well. Young lad, my name is Suyoi Hayomi, but you may soon call me Jiri no Haha-sama," she tells Naruto with a smirk. "Mother-in-law-sama. K-ka-sama," Shizuka mutters out with a blush on her cheeks due to her mother's action. Meanwhile, the group from Konoha was rather surprised at just how quickly the leader of the village went from talking to the Hokage and then to one of their subjects. "Well then, please show our guests to their rooms. We will discuss plans after you are rested," Suyoi says, completely ignoring her daughter's outburst. Suyoi then began to walk away from the Konoha ninja but suddenly stopped after a few steps. "Oh, and if you could please keep Lord Jiraiya from acting up while he is in this village. Even if he is part of your group, I do warn that he will receive the appropriate punishment," she added, glaring at the older man for just a moment before continuing to walk away. This led to one of the women that were lined up with her quickly walking up to Tsunade and begin to talk to her in a respectful tone. "If you would follow me, Hokage-sama," the woman requested, with Tsunade and the rest of the Konoha quickly agreeing to and doing just that. They were all then led to a relatively high-class hotel. Their guide then quickly talked to the front desk and got several keys before leading them to the second floor. "Okay, so first we apologize if our hotel is not up to your standards, Hokage-sama. Due to us rarely receiving guests, our village does not put much emphasis on hotels. But do not worry, we will work hard to make sure that you are as comfortable as we can manage. Now you and Lord Jiraiya have rooms to yourself while the rest of your group will be roomed in pairs," the woman explained, handing over all of the keys that she had to Tsunade. "The room numbers have all been marked on the keys and the rooms are all furnished the same. So feel free to pick your rooms as you feel is best, but we strongly request that you send someone to inform the front desk of Hokage-sama's room number," the woman told them, then left them alone to figure things out. After the woman left, it was a quick process to sort out everyone in rooms. On one side it was Tsunade's room, which she decided to share with Shizune, then a room for some of the Anbu, then Jiraiya's room. Meanwhile on the other side it was the rest of the Anbu, then Hinata and Haku, and finally Ino and Ayame's room. Now as for Naruto, he was originally to be placed into one of the rooms with the Anbu, but Jiraiya quickly decided to force Naruto to sleep in his room instead. "Ha ha ha, come on now Tsunade. Even if they are supposed to be on duty all the time to keep you protected, they still need areas where they can do things without needing their masks all the time," Jiraiya explained with a smirk. "There is no way I can let this brat sleep in a different room. I am sure there is a very good chance of when I am sleeping, he will bring in one of the girls for some sexy time. He, Jiraiya mentally explained while managing to keep his perverted cackle to only be in his head. Hearing this, Tsunade just shrugs before sending one of her Anbu to tell the receptionist which room she was in. "Anyways, I am sure that I will have a meeting in an hour or two, so I am going to sit my ass down and relax while I can. Jiraiya, you were restricted from going anywhere without my permission, As are you Naruto, seeing as I have no idea when I will have a meeting involving you, so I need to know where you are as well. But otherwise, all of you girls are free to do basically anything you want until the actual wedding, just don't get in trouble. Tsunade told the girls, who nodded. Huh, why am I stuck here? The Anbu are more than enough to run security detail. Jiraiya asked. Grr. Because you are notorious for doing shit women hate, and just in case you forgot, there are only women in this village basically. So I don't want you to have any chance to create even more of a headache for me to deal with. After all, the main reason we are even in this situation is because of you. She told him angrily. Hey, you see, I am helping the village left and right. If it wasn't for me, then this village would never have opened up to working with us so easily. Jiraiya tells her with a smirk. If it wouldn't cause me more problems than it's worth, I would have punched you into the desert already. Tsunade told him simply. Huh, I thought the desert wasn't anywhere near here. Ayame muttered, then watched as Tsunade cracked her knuckles as she held out her fist. That is my point. Tsunade tells her simply. For the farther the pervert went away from her, the happier she would be. Oh, was all Ayame could mutter, clearly a bit terrified of Tsunade. Hey, don't worry Ayame-chan. Tsunade-sama only treats those two idiots like that. After all, she needs to keep them in line somehow. Ino tells Ayame with a smile, looking at Jiraiya and Naruto. And here I thought you loved me, Naruto muttered, feeling a bit down. I am a Sannin and yet these kids don't pay me any respect anymore. Jiraiya mutters but quickly recovered. Oh, stop acting like that, Naru-kun. I do love you, but even you have to admit that you act like a baka at times. Ino tells Naruto, not lighting up at all on her tough love approach. And Naruto-kun has been making better choices for a while now. Hinata adds, trying to put Naruto in a better light, but Naruto instead just fell to the floor, making small circles on the ground with his finger. Even my Hina-chan thinks I was an idiot. Naruto mutters, even more depressed. Cough. As much fun as this banter has been, I want to relax before this shit starts. I have given you my orders, now go away. Tsunade tells the group, not worried about Naruto knowing most of the two men's actions were just that, an act. With that being said, they all followed her instruction and left the room. Naruto and Jiraiya's room. Sigh, I still can't believe this is happening, Naruto said, flopping onto his bed. And where do you think you are going? Naruto adds, looking at Jiraiya, who was walking towards the door. Oh, shut up, brat. I may have to listen to Tsunade, but I still have my trust information gathering tool to help make sure I don't miss anything important. Jiraiya tells him, showing a telescope. Even I don't want to create the political nightmare that I made the mistake of doing last time again, but this is just too perfect of a spot for me to not try and get some material. Let's just hope the seals I put on this to increase its ability truly work. Jiraiya thinks, then leaves Naruto alone in the room as he began his journey to the rooftop. Well, I suppose it's better than him making a peephole or something. Naruto says with a shrug, deciding not to bother to try and stop Jiraiya. After all, he had much bigger things on his mind. He then opened one of the books that he had sealed away and simply tried to keep his mind off of all the meetings he surely had in his future. That is until he heard a soft knock on the door. Come in, Naruto called without bothering to get up. He then looked over to the door after the person walked into the room to find that the person in question was Shizuka. "Oh, Shizuka-chan, what can I do for you?" Naruto asks awkwardly and quickly sat up and put his book away. "Hi, I just figured we could talk a bit before this process started." She told him honestly while looking clearly uncomfortable. "If you don't feel comfortable with this, you can back out. Who cares about some damn rule that was made ages before we were even born?" Naruto told her firmly. No, it's tradition. One that many of us dislike, but it is still something that can't be attacked lightly," Shizuka told him, knowing that her rejecting this would cause several problems with the older generations. She remembers the few times someone tried to do that, only for several council women to instantly have them shut down and punished. She did not know exactly how this custom was created, but enough women who support it have enough power to make sure it does. "Sigh, you are sure there is nothing I can do for you?" Naruto asks, only for her to shake her head while giving her a small smile. "I appreciate you asking, but no, there isn't at this time. But one of my goals is to become the leader here so that I can eventually change this village for the better." Shizuka tells him, determined. "Hey, Well, I guess all I can do is support you as a friend, but I am sorry about being part of the thing forcing you to give up your freedom. Naruto told her. Honestly. After all, even though the time he was with her was short, he still felt like he made a good friendship with both her and Sagiri, and this just felt like stepping on both a friend's grave and a friendship all at the same time. An idea that made him have a large frown on his face. Course, what truly surprised him was the fact that the girl in question simply walked over to him and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. While you are a part of this, I don't blame you in any way. After all, you only got wrapped up in this mess just like me. Even after you took so much effort to help me and Sagiri. She told him, then began to walk back towards the door only to look back at him with a blush. Besides, while I won't say I love you, I do feel like there is feelings we can possibly build on after I finish grieving Sagiri-kun. She told him, then quickly left. Shizuka-chan, you truly have been dealt a shit hand at life with your chance of happiness taken away. But yet you still are a strong enough woman to focus on your future and how to make your life as good as you possibly can. Sagiri-san, I don't know where we go after death, but I hope you know that Shizuka-chan clearly is a woman who won't ever let anything stop her, and I will help her as much as I can, as a friend. Naruto thought after Shizuka left him. For while he did have to marry Shizuka, it truly was just a formality rather than an actual wedding. So, other than what that formality forced them to do, he fully intended to treat Shizuka just as he had before, as a good friend. Especially seeing as, just like Shizuka, he couldn't say he loved her even though he did have some feelings for her simply as a normal friendship. Hallway. Oh, why did I do that? Shizuka muttered with a small blush on her face. For even though she was still grieving Sagiri and truly could say that she loved him, she also couldn't help but feel some warm feelings remembering everything Naruto did for her, even with the dangers it had. Not to mention the fact that he has done nothing but support her instead of acting completely different, something that she feared he would do, seeing as she found out he already was courting several other girls. She was honest when she said that she didn't love Naruto, but she was sure that with time some feeling would more than likely come. Pissed. Over here. Shizuka heard someone quietly call out, making her look to find one of the girls Naruto was dating looking right at her while motioning her to come over. Can I help you? Shizuka asks the girl, confused only to be surprised when her hands were grabbed and she got dragged into the room. Hey girls, look what I found. The girl told the rest of the people in the room happily, with her long blonde hair waving as she turned her head from her to the group. Shizuka then looked around and saw that every girl Naruto was in a relationship with was in the room. Hello. Shizuka muttered, unsure of exactly what was going on. Hello. You are Shizuka-san, correct? Ayame asked the girl, who nods, making her smile. Lovely, we just wanted to have some girl talk with you. She told Shizuka with the smile still on her face. Okay, Shizuka answered, truly not sure what to expect at the moment, but decided to stay, seeing as she would have to get to know these girls eventually. Course, she also noticed that a white-eyed girl was currently glaring at her. Did I do something to you? She couldn't help but ask, seeing the glare only seemed to get worse. Oh, don't worry, you are only taking some of my firsts. Hinata tells her with a small amount of ki, surprising her even more. Thankfully, this awkward situation was quickly smothered by Ino, who hit Hinata on the head with a light tap. Hinata, we talked about this. Just because you are obsessed with firsts so much doesn't mean you have been an asshole to her. After all, not only does it not matter, but she doesn't have much of a choice to begin with. Ino told her, seeing as they had to deal with talking down the jealous Hinata for a good portion of the trip. Honestly, Hinata is usually such a nice girl, but when it comes to her fantasies, she is a whole different beast. Ino couldn't help but think with a sweat drop. Fine, Hinata said with a huff. You are forgiven, but only because I feel bad for what happened to you. Hinata added, making Shizuku a sweat drop while thinking Hinata had a few screws loose. Sigh, I am sorry about Hinata-chan. I promise she is normally a very sweet girl, but is just far too caught up in her fantasies. She will calm down after a while, I promise. Ayame explains. Suor, Shizuka couldn't help but mutter, deciding to put the craziness to the side for the moment. Anyways, why did you call for me? Well, besides a certain girl. Ino says, looking over at Hinata. We wanted to get to know you more, seeing as, like it or not, you will be one of our sisters. Ino explained. But like Ayame said, Hinata will get over her stupid annoyance eventually. It's not stupid. I have already told you that I was the first girlfriend, meaning all of the first belong to me. Hinata told them firmly, making the rest of the girls besides Shizuka shake their heads at Hinata's strange antics. Right, anyways, let's just talk a bit, shall we? Ayame said, deciding to move past Hinata's strange moments. And with that being said, they did just that, with Hinata quickly settling down from her crazy phase and was able to talk normal to Shizuka. Plus a while later, after talking for a good while with Naruto's girlfriends, Shizuka actually felt a lot better about having to deal with them. For other than their special moments and quirks, they all were really friendly and clearly were happy with their arrangements, even with the fact that they were all dating the same person. Maybe dating someone with CRA won't be all bad. Shizuka couldn't help but think, with a small smile staying on her face. Course, yet again, before she could fully exit the hotel, yet another thing stopped her. "Hey brat, come here," Tsunade ordered the younger woman. Excuse me," Shizuka mumbled, stunned at the brazen statement. "You heard me. I wish to talk to you, unless you wish to try and make a scene," Tsunade told her, releasing just enough ki to make Shizuka feel some pressure. Course Shizuka normally would refuse this and simply tell the person to fuck off after trying to order her around. But with the fact that it was the Hokage meant that this situation could lead to loads of troubles that she really didn't want to deal with. So, with that in mind, she followed Tsunade as she walked back to her room, simply hoping that this conversation wouldn't be too bad. After they reached the room, they calmly sat facing each other at the small dining area that was provided, with Shizune watching from the sideline. Tsunade then quickly placed a large bottle of sake on the table with 2 cups at the ready. "Want some?" Tsunade asked the girl, who gently shook her head. "Hey, find more for me," Tsunade told her, happily filling her cup and drinking the entire thing immediately. "So, I asked you to come here simply because I wanted to talk to you about this whole situation," Tsunade told her. "Asked? More like made a scene I couldn't escape from," Shizuka thought, mildly annoyed. "Oh, and what did you want to talk about?" she instead asked with a small fake smile. "Well, first I wanted to talk about the bout of bad luck that you faced with your first boyfriend," Tsunade told her with a neutral face as she watched Shizuka's expression change from shock to betrayed, finally to a bit of anger. "Hey, don't worry, the brat didn't tattle on your plan. He just wasn't at a level where he could notice just how much Jiraiya was keeping an eye on him throughout his training. So don't go getting upset about him. It's not like we plan on tattling or anything, seeing as it would get me nowhere. Instead, I simply wanted to talk about it, seeing as I had to face something mildly similar myself. But I still don't like bringing this up, so you better listen this time," Tsunade told her seriously. For while she was picking at old wounds by doing this, she felt that this was a way to help Naruto out in the future with this relationship, even if it never ends up being true love. What? Shizuka muttered, surprised, but quickly recovered, thinking that it wasn't that unreasonable given that Tsunade came to fame during one of the Great Wars. "Does the pain ever go away?" Shizuka finally asked, serious. "No, it doesn't go away. Thankfully, the pain can be dulled with time and with loved ones helping to bring your thoughts away from the worst memories," Tsunade told her, foregoing the cup and taking a large swig of the sake from the glass itself. "It also helps by thinking only of the good memories you had with them rather than the bad," she adds. "Only the good memories," Shizuka muttered, going through all of the secret dates, conversations, and other events she shared with Sagiri. "Yes, I may be a hypocrite saying this, but the main thing you need to remember is that your loved ones wouldn't want to see you wallow in sadness forever, but rather see you move on. So, don't let yourself fall into depression and instead live on. You never will forget your loved ones, both new and old, but life is all about dealing with the blows that you are dealt," Tsunade told her while taking heavy swigs of the alcohol to push away the dark thoughts of her own past. After all, this isn't the time for her to become so depressed she can't think straight, but rather time for her to try her hardest to let her brat have as good of a life as possible. And in this case, that meant trying to make Shizuka push past her own nightmares. After all, as much as she wanted to deny it, she really did care about Naruto as if he was her own child, and owed him a lot, seeing as he kept her from wasting the rest of her life. "Thank you, Lady Tsunade, you have given me a lot to think about," Shizuka muttered out, with her brain too muddled with memories. She then moved to get up but was stopped by Tsunade, who quickly stood up and placed a hand on her shoulder. Oh, and while I trust that you truly are friends with Naruto-kun, Tsunade started with a smile on her face that stayed present even as she began to apply more pressure on the girl's shoulder, making it feel as if it was going to be crushed. If this marriage turns out to be nothing more than some little game that your village pulled for power, then I will crush you, treaty be damned. Tsunade told her honestly, with the full brunt of her ki pushing down on Shizuka, who even with all of her experience and strength stood helpless in front of as she felt herself beginning to suffocate. This is the power of the Sannin. It feels as if she could truly carry through with her threat if she so decided. Shizuka thought with wide eyes as she experiences just what facing an upper S-class ninja truly felt like. Something that truly scared her. For while she knew that if it was just Tsunade, her village should be able to somehow manage to win even after taking major damage, but with all of Konoha following her, they would be trampled over in an instant. After all, their village had no true relationships with other villages, let alone major ones, leaving them all alone with no support from anywhere to be expected. Just as long as I am understood, Tsunade told her after a minute, quickly releasing her ki and letting the girl catch her breath in desperate gasps. I understand, Hokage-sama. Shizuka told her honestly, then left the room still trying to recover from the experience she had. Then as she was walking down the hallway yet again, she saw someone she actually knew for once. A single person in a mask which was their version of Anbu. Lady Shizuka, are you okay? I will immediately inform Joseikage-sama about the Hokage's assault on you. The woman told her, with the only reason that she didn't help the younger woman earlier being the fact that no attack was ever actually exchanged and leaving their village at fault, and the fact that with all of the Leaf Ninja around she would have no chance at all of saving Shizuka's life from the retaliation. No, it is fine, Shizuka told the woman, but, the masked woman tried to say, it would only cause unneeded problems. Lady Tsunade is just showing that people are right about Konoha. They truly do care for their own with a fire of passion. Shizuka told her, not worried at all. After all, they had no plans of trying to pull something on Konoha anyways. But if it will make you feel better, I will personally talk to my mother about it and explain my thoughts. She added. Understood, the woman told her before disappearing. Sigh, tomorrow will certainly be an interesting day, she couldn't help but think as she finally left the hotel. Tsunade's room. Tsunade-sama, are you sure that was the right move to pull? Shizune asks, worried. After all, while she fully understood why Tsunade did it, it still was the child of another village's cage. Of course it wasn't the proper move to pull, but I don't care. Tsunade told her simply. They know that they aren't strong enough to truly take advantage of my little warning after all, and I owe the brat at least this much protection from hardships. Tsunade told her honestly. If you wanted to protect Naruto from problems, then why are we even here in the first place? After all, this truly is only Jiraiya's issue, not something that the village needed to join. Shizune told her. For while she was very happy that the village would get another ally, she also couldn't think of how protecting Naruto from hardships would have led to them doing anything but ignoring this marriage. Sigh, and that Shizune is due to that snake bastard, Tsunade told her, taking another large chug of sake. Whether I like it or not, that bastard is brewing something truly dangerous, something that I have no idea if we will be able to face without drastic damages. So, unfortunately, even my liking of the brat is trumped by the village needing every ally and source of resources it can get before that bastard's plan hits us fully. Tsunade told her, then looked at the smile on her student's face. What? I am just happy that you truly are thinking like a proper Hokage. Shizune tells her, making Tsunade actually blush a bit out of embarrassment. Oh, shut up. I am just holding this stupid job until the brat can be strong enough to actually take it over without destroying the village. That is it, she told Shizune and tried to ignore the still smiling woman. Next morning. Early in the morning after they arrived, a message arrived for Tsunade notifying her that her meeting with the Joseikage finally arrived. So, she quickly forced Naruto to come with her and went to the meeting room that was specified. Good morning, Lady Tsunade. Thank you for coming so promptly. Suyoi said happily from her side of the table as Tsunade sat down. Good morning to you as well, Joseikage, Tsunade answered with Naruto nodding a greeting to Shizuka, who sat beside her mother. Now I know that you are not a woman that likes long drawn-out conversations, so I will try to keep the planning meetings as short as possible. After all, we are on a rather short time frame to begin with. Suyoi tells her with a smile. Oh, and why is that? Tsunade asks with an eyebrow raised. Well, I am sure you have felt it as well. There is clearly something going on in this world that will drastically affect everyone's future. I may not know how, why, when, who, but I just have been sensing that war is coming rapidly closer to us. She honestly explains. After all, with all the talk of strange monsters, disappearances, random attacks, how could there not be something dark brewing just behind the scene? So you have felt it as well. Tsunade muttered, honestly a bit surprised. Well, we must make sure to help bring our villages to be as prepared as they can be. Tsunade tells the woman, who smirks. Yes, I am glad you think so. Let us make sure that this friendship leads to truly great successes. Suyoi tells her, fully hoping to have both villages prosper from their relationship. But now let's get back onto topic. After all, there is another major reason. We must have this wedding performed as soon as possible. Oh, Tsunade muttered and saw Suyoi nod her head. After all, my lovely daughter will start ovulating any day now, and I want my grandchild as soon as possible. She told Tsunade with her expression never changing from her smile. Meanwhile, Tsunade became truly surprised by such an unexpected answer, while Naruto and Shizuka turned bright red. Fought. They both called out with their entire faces bright red. Chapter 80. Mother. Shizuka called out, completely blindsided by her saying what she did. What? It's the truth. I mean, we already talked about wanting you to ensure that our family line continues. Suyoi tells her, simply not at all bothered. But to say it so bluntly and in front of Hokage-sama, and I haven't even gotten over the idea itself. Shizuka tells her, but muttered the last bit. After all, the only reason she wasn't even more tempted to run away, besides the fact that she would be given a bounty, was the loyalty to her village. For even if she hated the old practice the village had, it still is the place she grew up and loved dearly. Oh, I gotta say, I did not expect you to be so blunt. Tsunade told her, seeing as she fully expects the talk to go into a completely different direction. Shrug. I mean, we both know that a war is brewing and that we must do the best for our villages. Besides, I have a hunch that my daughter isn't truly all that upset with the man she ended up with. Suyoi tells Tsunade, dropping the formality while giving Naruto a knowing look, making him sweat. It was surprising when she came and told me about your village and what the pervy sage did. Naruto told her, not able to look her in the eyes. For while he did learn how to properly lie and many other things for information gathering, but his flustered brain currently could not fully use his training. For it was far too busy processing the fact that he was literally told that they need to hurry to impregnate a girl, by her mother. Sometimes the ninja world was far too strange even for him. I am sure it was. Anyways, let's get this planning meeting started, shall we, Lady Tsunade? Suyoi reacted to Naruto, clearly not fully believing him, but then refocused on having a proper conversation between cages. Sigh. Let's just get this over with, Tsunade told her, hoping this didn't take too long. Course, meanwhile, Shizuka was in her own little world. What did my mother just say? Does she somehow know of what we did? But how? We were so careful to keep away from prying eyes. Oh, what does my mother know? Shizuka couldn't help but think as the shock brought her far away from her originally super embarrassed state. After the talk got serious though, Tsunade and Suyoi were able to figure out most of the plan and arrangements in only a couple of hours. Though sadly both Naruto and Shizuka were too lost in their own thoughts to really contribute much to the talk. Still, they had a pretty good idea of what they needed to do at least. After the plans were finished and the meeting finally ended, the group had a small meal in the public to show the cages were on good terms. After all, the citizens were made well aware that a treaty was well on its way to be formed. The group then split off, with Shizune following her mother and Naruto having to go off to the appointment set up for him at a clothing store. As for Tsunade, seeing as she was the visiting cage, she went back to relax in her room rather than helping things get set up. After all, if she somehow was injured or worse, then it would not only be the end of the treaty and a black mark on the village, but could lead to a war between the two respective villages. So, needless to say, Tsunade happily went back into her room to relax and possibly drink, depending on how much Shizune complains. Naruto _AN. Now, before I get into this, I will like to say that I am not someone who is well versed in Japanese culture. In fact, this wedding will have a flavor of Japanese culture with mostly Western practices, so I don't offend people as much with my attempt. Now I know for males they wear yukata, at least I think, in some cases, but everything I have looked up have said a special kimono is worn, which I won't go into loads of detail and rather just make it sound relatively nice to not offend people even more by getting crud wrong. But that is why I will be saying kimono for both Naruto and Shizuka. Finally, I will like to say that I apologize to anyone from fluent in Japanese culture. I do not mean to offend anyone, but rather just want to write, and the wedding itself is not that much of a focus to the story. If I truly took the time to get at least a basic understanding, this chapter would most likely take loads more time before I feel comfortable enough to not make a fool out of myself. Ding ding. Naruto heard as he opened the store's door, which was connected to a few bells. Welcome. The clerk happily calls out with a smile on her face. How can I help you today? She asks kindly. I have an appointment to be fitted for a wedding kimono. Naruto told the woman with his embarrassment. Oh, so you are the lucky male marrying Shizuka-sama. The woman said with her smile still present, but clearly wasn't a true smile. Great, the sexist thoughts run deep even with the civilians. She must think I am not worthy of their future leader's hand in marriage. Naruto thought with a sweat drop. Still, he chose to ignore this in favor of just getting his task completed. Though he couldn't help but wonder what some of the males around the village were like. After all, even if they are mainly a female village, they needed at least some males, various reasons. So, he spent what to him felt like ages finding a nice basic set of clothes that the currently was standing on a box as alterations were done to make sure there was no issues. In the end, he stood there wearing a black kimono with a white Konoha leaf sitting proudly on his back, with two Uzumaki swirls on either side of the Konoha leaf. Course, due to it being a rush order rather than the symbols being actually made into the garment, they were patches that were blended into the clothing as best as the seamstress could do. It is surprising that we are doing this. Normally the incoming village would make sure to bring proper clothes for the ceremony. The seamstress told Naruto. Clearly as a jab at his village. Yes, they normally do, but with the call being so sudden we didn't have much of a chance to prepare. Naruto told her back, leading to another round of silence. Sigh, do we really have to be on such bad terms? Naruto asked the woman honestly, making her freeze for just a second. I am sorry. Normally I would be a bit less intolerant, but it's Shizuka-sama. She really is precious to many of us in the village, seeing as she is trying her hardest to make this village even better for all of us. And while we understand that political marriages happen and that you won the right through the proper methods, but we just worry about her happiness. The woman finally admits, making Naruto look at her in surprise. I had no idea you guys cared for her so much. Naruto told her honestly. She won us over as she already fought to try and make changes for the betterment of the village. She truly is a great woman and a great future leader. I truly think she deserves as much happiness as she can get. The woman told him with a smile, making Naruto have a smirk of his own. Shizuka-san, I truly hope you know just how much your efforts are being appreciated. Naruto thinks happily as he notes that he has to make sure she does. Don't worry, I promise you that I will try my hardest to support Shizuka-san as much as I can and will try to keep her as happy as I can. Naruto tells the woman, who looks at him doubtfully for a few seconds before responding. I hope that you do. She mutters to Naruto, clearly not fully trusting him yet. Though at this point it didn't matter, seeing as the reason that he was there came to an end, so he quickly paid for his outfit and left the store. Shizuka. After separating from the group, Shizuka followed after her mother and simply stayed silent as she watched her mother order several different groups that were preparing the ceremony. That is until the point where she could not bear her curiosity anymore. So, why did you seem to not believe Naruto-kun? She asks, trying her hardest to not say she broke the rules directly to her mother. Shizu-chan, do you really think that I don't pay attention to my own daughter that much? I might be busy, but that doesn't mean that I am not trying to be part of my little girl's life. Suyoi tells her with a knowing smirk. What do you mean? Shizuka asks, looking away from her mother. Kukuku. You think you two are so smart with your perfect little plan, but remember that I know everything that goes on in this village and with you. Both because I am a Kage and because I am your mother. Suyoi tells her with the smirk still ever present on her face. After all, who wouldn't find it strange that a certain weak traitor my girl was making lovely Deve eyes at suddenly had a complete 360 in his reactions. She added with knowing eyes. Lovely Deve eyes. I mean of course I would have my eyes on him seeing as he blindsided me with his hidden power. Shizuka tells her mother doing everything she can to avoid her eyes while mentally freaking out. Though the last thing she expected was for her mother just to laugh and give her a hug. You are so cute when you are trying to be sneaky, but what kind of cager mother would I be if something happened in my domain without me knowing? She told her, then let go of Shizuka. Now we will talk more about this later. Go get to your appointments, she ordered, and her daughter happily did just that while her mother watched with amusement. Oh Shizu-chan, you may think that you are so smart, but you kids had various problems with your, oh so well thought out plan, Suyoi thought, seeing as years ago she and several others noticed the obvious inconsistencies with Sagiri. In fact, the only reason they truly didn't get caught after their inexperience showed is because she quelled the problems they created. After all, she wanted to make sure her girl was happy, it just sadly ended with a freak incident. Still, she was at least aware that there was at least a friendship between Shizuka and Naruto from that point. And now that it has been given a chance, that friendship has clearly begun to blossom into something more. So, Suyoi was at least hoping that her daughter was happy enough in her marriage, even if there were several other girls. Plus that evening after Shizuka left her mother, she went to her appointment to make sure her outfit was all set up and then quickly went on to do a few other tasks she was given. Then before she knew it, the daytime vanished and the moon quickly showed itself over the horizon. Sigh, I can't believe that I am really going to be married tomorrow, Sagiri couldn't help but think with a blush quickly appearing on her face, seeing as the council made it quite clear what else had to happen tomorrow as well. After all, she never expected to have her first child so soon, and to be honest, the thought scared her. In fact, if it wasn't for her loyalty to her village, she would almost be tempted to escape from this whole situation. Though at least this isn't all bad. I mean, Naruto is far from the worst person I could imagine being with. While I am not one to be a fan of arranged marriages, in this case it basically fits the story. For in the Naruto series, Shizuka was already prepared to marry him without knowing anything about him. So, this shows that she truly does value her loyalty to the village over even her own happiness, even if she was depressed at the moment. For while she still didn't truly feel any desire to truly fall in love with anyone other than Sagiri at the moment. Something that thankfully Naruto understood, seeing as he was friends with both of them. Not to mention, she couldn't completely say that she felt nothing towards the blonde. And she couldn't fault him for having multiple wives, seeing as she already spent time discussing with said girls about it, and she also knew that he was also having to follow his village's rules. As for bearing a child, while she still felt far from ready, she also knew why her mother forced this upon her and knew that there would be several close family friends that would help her. Please Kami, just let this work out smoothly. I will follow my village's orders, but please let Naruto-kun be understanding, and let Sagiri-kun know that I will always love him no matter where he may be. But a ninja is forced to keep living their life for their village. Shizuka muttered, still feeling like she was betraying her first love's memory. Naruto_. So tomorrow is the big day. Naruto told himself as he tried to relax on his bed. Sadly, even with a book in hand, he found himself unable to take his mind off of the near future. Ya kid, I bet you are a ball of nerves, seeing as you are getting lucky enough to be married to such a hot girl, oh, and for helping your village. Jiraiya told Naruto, ignoring the glare he received. You know that I hate this whole political marriage bullshit. In fact, the only reason I am not throwing more of a fuss is seeing as if I didn't, Shizuka-chan would probably be stuck with some random bastard. Naruto told him, for he couldn't stand the idea of his friend being forced to be with some sleazeball while she was still recovering from the shock of losing Sagiri-san. Hey, I know brat, you truly are far too righteous to be a true ninja, but that is probably what draws people to ya so much. Jiraiya told him with a smile. Now just get some rest. Let the girl have a good memory of tomorrow, and you having pitch black rings around your eyes won't help that. Jiraiya told Naruto, who said nothing but did end up closing his book about a half hour later and tried to get some rest. Base a bit away from Nashiko village. A random worker currently was rushing through their office as fast as he could with a worried expression on his face. He then barged his way into a rather fancy office. "Sir," the man called out, seeing a sleazy-looking man in a suit sitting at the fancy desk. "What is it that is making you barge into my office?" Kokuyo asked the man, clearly displeased. I am sorry sir, but I have just gotten word from our informants that Shizuka from the village is being prepared for a marriage ceremony going on tomorrow." The man told his boss and watched as pure rage boiled in his eyes. "She is what? How dare that damn woman allow herself to be married off before I could take her? Does she have any idea just how much is invested on her?" Kokuyo complained, not bothering to hide any of his intentions. Apparently someone finally beat her, the employee told him, only to flinch when the glare turned to him. "Obviously you fucking idiot. But at least this is still salvageable." Kokuyo growled at the man before beginning to think. "Call in my council, and tell the builders to ramp up the construction of Project Delta." Kokuyo ordered the man. Hi, the man says before running off. "That damn woman trying to ruin my plans, I'll show her, and whoever this asshole is trying to take my woman." Kokuyo thinks beyond annoyed. After all, in his mind Shizuka already was his property. Plus next morning, Naruto plus. Naruto quickly woke up bright and early, got dressed in his basic clothes and quickly went off to the room he was told to wait in with his dress clothes carefully held in his arms. Meanwhile, all around the central district of the village there was still loads of things going on. For a ceremonial altar was set up proudly on one end of the area, with a few large pots of flowers moved over to decorate the area around it. After that there was a box with 2 plush seats placed with about 2 feet in between them. Also, if one would notice, there were several seals placed around and in the box, set up for both comfort and safety of those sitting in it. After all, this box was only for the 2 cages and the 2 guards that were to stand behind them. Finally, there were loads of chairs set up on either side of a walkway. Seats there were already being filled up the residents of the city, while the visitors from Konoha and the important people having reserved seats closest to the altar. "Oh, this is pretty. These kunoichi have done a real good job," Ino says, happily looking all round the area. "Indeed, this is a lot more than I expected for what I thought was going to be a political marriage." Ayame admitted. "Agreed. But I suppose this is what happens when a mother is marrying off her only child. She wants to make it as special as possible, even if politics had some play in it." Haku said simply. "Well, whatever, I am just happy to see this and to wear a beautiful dress." Ino said happily. For each of the girls were sitting in rather fancy dresses that showed off the girls' beauty. For even though they truly had nothing to do with the wedding, they still were being seen as part of Konoha, and they also were girls that wanted to take any chance they could to dress up. Course Haku then glanced over at the one member of their group that was silent. "Are you okay, Hinata-san?" Haku asked the girl that was rather tense. "Oh, I am okay, Haku-san. I just am dealing with the fact that this is happening," Hinata told her simply after a second, which would have confused anyone that didn't know the other side of the usually shy and quiet girl. For who would have suspected that said girl was rather forceful and determined when it comes to her romantic life? "Okay, Hinata-chan, how about if you stay calm and proper during this, I teach you the best cinnamon bun recipe I know?" Ayame asks the girl with a sweat drop. After all, she didn't even want to imagine what kind of scene it would create to have a Konoha ninja interrupt this wedding, or possibly do worse. "You don't have to worry. I know I can't do anything about this, even if it is more of my Naru-kun's firsts being taken away from me. I will just have to make up for it as soon as I can," Hinata said, determined, with a faint blush on her face, but then refocused on the conversation. "But I will take that deal anyways if you also create a batch for me," she told her, completely serious. Fine, we have a deal," Ayame told the girl, who smiled at her. "Man, I know Hinata-san is a very capable ninja, heiress, and lover, but she is truly a very strange girl at times. I wonder if those books truly are capable of tainting one's mind more than I thought." Ayame couldn't help but think. Meanwhile, the girls failed to notice that one of a few stones near them disappeared into a small poof of smoke. He. It seems that Hinata-chan might be even more use for my books than I thought," Jiraiya thought happily. For he always knew just from her looks that she would bring great inspiration to his stories. But now, with her current mindset, he was sure that if he stayed around his young student, he was sure to get more than enough kinky research to work with just in a few days. So, needless to say, he was very excited for his next few days of research back in Konoha. Plus 30 minutes later plus. Finally, after a long wait, most people were all situated either in chairs or standing around the area ready to watch the wedding. They then watched as one of the temple monks calmly walked up to the altar and stood directly behind a stadium that was present. Course, while he did this, several people couldn't help but notice that this monk seemed to be rather young compared to the others they have seen. Welcome everyone today to a joyous occasion. For not only is Lady Shizuka Hayami to be lawfully married to Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, but will also be the proud day that Konoha and the Nashiko villages join forces. May both these villages and the newlyweds find peace and prosperous times for many years ahead of them. The monk said happily, then looked to his side. Now may I have our honored groom please come to the altar. He told Naruto, who stood off to the side of the stage. Naruto then did just that and slowly made his way to the center altar, making sure to keep his posture as pristine as he was capable of without seeming stiff. "Rar, I gotta say our man clean up fine," Ino says happily, seeing Naruto in his dress clothes. "Shish," Iyame quickly shushed the girl, then refocused on the ceremony. Course, no one in the ceremony actually heard the girls as Naruto finally made it to the altar and stood to the side of the monk without saying a word. "Now will the honored bride come to the altar?" the monk called out. After he said this, a light song began to play and everyone looked to the other end of the walkway where Shizuka began her journey to the altar. She currently was wearing a light green kimono with rather long sleeves and bottom, giving it a flowing aspect. She also currently had her hair up, with being held up by a hair clip that had an emerald embedded in it. Shizuka also had her makeup done just enough to accent her natural beauty, but not enough to make it seem as if it was plastered on. Overall, most of the villagers were happily muttering how beautiful the girl they watched grow up truly had become. Still, everyone tried to keep as quiet as possible as Takiwa began to walk her down the aisle. Now normally this was an honor reserved for the father, but due to the practices of their village and the fact her mother was unable to do so, it fell on Takiwa's shoulders to give away the girl she worked with for so long. But this walk didn't last long until they reached the altar and Takiwa gave Shizuka a quick gentle hug before moving to a chair that was left open for her. "You truly do look beautiful, Shizuka-chan," Naruto quietly complimented Shizuka, making the girl blush just a bit. "Thank you, and you look good as well," she added with a small smile. Though they both then quieted down to let the monk continue the ceremony. "Now with both spouses ready, let us begin the ceremony of these two young warriors. And may their will of fire not fight against each other but increase the blaze in both of them," the monk said happily. "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, do you promise to protect, support, and respect Lady Shizuka so long as you may live?" "I promise." "Shizuka Hayami, do you promise to protect, support, and respect Lord Naruto so long as you may live?" "I promise," Shizuka said calmly, but suddenly was distracted as a few explosions were heard in the distance. A noise that not only put the ceremony on hold but put everyone on edge. It was at this point that a kunoichi appeared in front of the cage's box. But rather than enter the area, she forced herself to wait as one of the guards came out and grabbed the scroll and brought it Tsuyoi after examining it for anything remotely dangerous. Though after reading this message for just a few moments, she was visibly frustrated as she glared at the paper. "Something going on?" Tsunade asks, curious about the reaction and the explosions she heard. "It seems a group of fools decided to try and attack the village," Tsuyoi told her with a dark look on her face. "They will know not only what happens when they attack my village but what happens when you mess with my girl's wedding," Tsuyoi added, clearly enraged. She then stood up and got the attention of everyone. "Everyone, I am sorry, but due to an unforeseen attack we are postponing this wedding. But do not worry, as soon as we demolish the problem the wedding will continue. But for now all kunoichi, please get your gear and join us on demolishing the fools that dare attack our village," Tsuyoi told the group, getting some cheers as loads of the women quickly ran off to prepare and go defend their home. A bit away from the other side of the village, a battle was raging on as several weird-looking puppets were moving around and attacking the kunoichi that were trying to impede them. Though there were also a lot of men rushing forward with various types of weapons to fight other kunoichi that way. "Woohoo! Let's go, boys," a burly man that stood in the back of the group called out with a large smile on his face. He then pulled a large sword from his back and pointed it at the village. "You heard the nerd boy that hired us. All we have to do is break into the village and they can do the rest to completely take it over." Just fight hard now and you will be rewarded with all the women you could ever want." The man yelled out with a lecherous look on his face. But this look didn't last long as he refocused on the battle and charged into the fight as well. This man was the leader of a mercenary group that Kokuyo hired a while back to do various jobs for the company. Their group handled everything from the heavy lifting to procuring their less than legal products when they were needed. Though at this time they were actually given quite a few of the puppets the company produced to fight the kunoichi of the village on this side as another team attacks them from the other side. With the main goal being to either kill or force the cage to surrender to their terms. Something that all the men were very well aware would allow them to do. Hence why all the male mercenaries were fighting with even more vigor than usual. Wedding. Are you sure that you don't want us to help? Tsunade asks, feeling rather odd not joining the fight. Don't worry, our kunoichi are more than capable of handling anyone foolish enough to attack our village. Besides, any other village would deem us weak if we needed outsider help to repel a group of Rouges. Suyoi told her, though the truth of the matter was that she wished to join the fight herself, but having their cage enter a battlefield would be an unnecessary risk judging from the report she was given. For said report stated that other than the weak puppets that they had been fighting for some time now, there was only a group of mercenaries that had minimal access to their chakra. This attack is a foolish suicide on the men that are attacking us. But why are they doing so? Surely, they must realize that my girls are slaughtering them and just decide to cut their losses. So why is this battle still going on? Suyoi contemplated. After all, she was fully confident that her soldiers would have the attackers completely annihilated in less than an hour if the fight continued, but even the dumbest of human knew when they needed to think of survival rather than some dream of victory. Though as she was lost in thought, yet another explosion was heard on their side of the village, drawing everyone's attention to the gate that now had its doors completely demolished. And behind them stood dozens of puppets behind a much smaller group of mercenaries. Plus, she quickly saw someone that made her anger at the attackers multiply tenfold. Kokuyo. She growled out, making Tsunade raise an eyebrow in confusion. Someone you know? Tsunade asks, watching Suyoi's mood turn worse with each passing moment. Only a bastard that is so obsessed with trying to win a match against Shizuka that he keeps coming back with these stupid machines. Oh, and here I thought the marriage battles were to the death. They are. This bastard is just as slimy as an eel and manages to slip out of whatever plan we make to kill him with his strange inventions, but not this time. Suyoi growls out, then stands up. All kunoichi who were on standby attack this fool and his group. Whoever brings me his head will be rewarded, just make sure the death is as painful as possible. She ordered, and then tensed to engage them herself, only for one of her guards to put a hand on her shoulder. This of course caused the woman to give a glare so fierce it scared even her guard for a moment. Lady Suyoi, this battle still is not worth you putting yourself in danger. The guard tells her, oh, this bastard has now entered our village and stepped all over our ways several times, and you don't think it is worth me showing him just what a cage means? Suyoi asks, clearly seeing red. But before her guard could respond, they both watched as a fancy kimono landed directly on their box's edge, making them look back at the wedding area. In doing so, they found Shizuka now wearing only what she had under the kimono, which ended up being a rather tight shirt and short shorts with a small weapon pouch on her thigh. Take care of that dress for me, mother. It would be sad to see this bastard ruin such a piece of art. Shizuka told her before jumping into the battle. After all, even though she was a proud ninja, she also was very proud of her own feminine side and likes. After this, all attention was brought back to the attackers again, where the kunoichi were demolishing the group, but somehow their path was always blocked from reaching Kokuyo himself. Tisk, fine, I guess it is good enough to have Shizu-chan take care of him, after all she is the one he pesters the most. Suyoi mutters as she sits back down, but not before she clicked her teeth in annoyance. Meanwhile, the group from Konoha looked wantingly at Tsunade, who just shook her head negative. Suyoi said they were fine without our help and we have to respect that. Tsunade told them, clearly not the happiest with this either. Still, it wasn't their village, so she felt they needed to show their newest ally the respect they deserved. Shizuka. After joining the battle, Shizuka quickly found her enemies almost avoiding her. In fact, her journey to Kokuyo was almost unhindered by the army itself. Ah, my lovely Shizuka-chan, I am so glad you finally came, and in proper attire. Kokuyo told her happily, not even trying to hide his lecherous look at her body. Tisk, are you finally ready to face the death you deserve, coward? Shizuka asks the man coldly. Ah, how awful for a wife to give her husband such a cold welcome. But yes, I am here to challenge you, my dear. He told her happily. Challenge? We have already gone past that. You lost. Kokuyo told her, waving his finger. Your battles are to the death, and if you couldn't tell, I am very much alive. He told her, motioning at his body. Now let me show you the wonders of my company. He added, quickly opening 2 scrolls, releasing several puppets that he quickly attached chakra strings to. Enough of your games. Shizuka growled out and went on the attack. She then skillfully dodged the many attacks that came her way, while each of her attacks destroyed one of the puppets beyond repair. Though she didn't expect this to bring a smile to the man's face. Ha ha ha, foolish woman. Time for my ultimate creation. Kokuyo told her, brining out a large puppet with the number 100 on its chest. Now go. He calls out, making the puppet rush at her. Course this puppet, while lasting a bit longer than the rest of them, still met the same fate as its companions. Though as soon as it did, a red circle with a 4-pointed star on top of it appeared to glow through Shizuka's shirt on her stomach. Cuckoo, finally. 100 puppet soul binding. Kokuyo called out, then sent chakra strands that connected with various sections of Shizuka's body. What is this? Shizuka asked, slightly panicked, finding herself unable to move. She then found herself screaming in pain when she tried to force her body to move using chakra. I wouldn't try that if I were you. My technique gives me complete control of anyone that destroys 100 of my precious puppets, and anything you try to do that isn't my order will be met with pain. Kokuyo told her happily. Everyone stop fighting unless you wish your precious Kage's daughter to be punished even more. Kokuyo called out, then made Shizuka scream out in pain again. Course this made everyone stop for just a moment, looking over at the new predicament that was created. Damn him, everyone stop attacking. Suyoi called out, clenching her teeth in rage. She then quickly left the seat she was in and walked towards the battle to see the dreadful trap that her daughter was in. Ha ha ha, wonderful. Kokuyo said with a wide smile. Now Suyoi, you can clearly see I have beat your daughter and she is now mine. Now I was gonna wait until you gave her control, but why wait when my seal is absolute? He said with a shrug. Surrender your village and its strength to my company and become our attack dogs, and our stress relievers. He ordered her, making her clench her teeth even harder as she thought of what to do with this situation. Mother. Shizuka called out from her position. Don't answer to this bastard's demands. I'm not worth the village and he has no plans of letting me go anyways. Shizuka told her, accepting her fate. And here I thought I would at least have a chance to get some happier memories again. Shizuka thought sadly, with the only reason she didn't shed tears being that she didn't want to give Kokuyo that pleasure. I find this whole master technique of yours rather lacking. A voice next to Kokuyo muttered, shocking everyone. What? When did you get here? Kokuyo asked, shocked that a man with spiky blonde hair was right next to him. I snuck up to you during your whole evil laugh episode. I was trained by a master spy after all. Naruto told him with a shrug. He then quickly took out a kunai and after applying chakra to it, easily cut through the chakra strands connected to Shizuka. He then watched as the young woman fell to the ground now that the thing freezing her in place was missing. Course the seal was still present, but it didn't seem to do anything to her. As I thought, that seal matrix can't do anything without its connection to you. Naruto mutters with a smirk. What? Who are you? Kokuyo asks, stunned that his technique was read through so quickly. Naruto-kun. Shizuka muttered, surprised herself. I am the man whose future wife you just were trying to torture, but I will also gain another answer to your question in just a minute. Naruto told him coldly, then created 2 clones. Shizuka-chan, are you okay? Naruto Clone 1 asked in concern. Yay, just a bit razzled by whatever this seal is. Shizuka admitted as the second clone helped her up as she put an arm around its shoulders. Don't worry, we will get that thing off of you in a jiffy. Naruto Clone 2 tells her happily and begins to help her walk away from the battlefield. Wait, I didn't allow you to leave. Kokuyo called out after a moment of being stunned and attempted to send new chakra strands at her, only to lose his focus as a fish slammed into his gut. You aren't allowed to touch her again, you are dealing with me. Naruto told him coldly, now with all of his focus on the man. Fuck you bastard, you are ruining all of my company's plans. Kokuyo screams at Naruto, then looks at his group. Don't just stand there, attack him, and get my bride back. Kokuyo ordered his men, who prepared to follow their orders only for the kunoichi they were facing to attack them with renewed vigor. It seems your associates are just a bit busy now, Naruto told him with a cruel smirk. He then watched as the man looked at him with fear and tried to run away. None of that. Naruto told him, quickly catching up to the man and slamming him to the ground, then kept him there by stepping on his back. I mean, I have learned so much about you, not only from my bride but also from this whole experience. Naruto told him, watching the man squirm around trying to get out from under his foot. Now I am so surprised that you like torturing people so much, perhaps you want to experience some yourself. Naruto told him, holding out a cupped hand where a red flame suddenly became visible. Lucky for you, I have just the thing for you, Naruto told him, making the man's eyes widen as he turned his head to look at the flame. He then flinched as Naruto removed his foot from the man's back and brought his hand close to the middle of his back. No! Kokuyo called out and tried to escape, but it was far too late as the flame reached his back and Naruto placed his hand against his back. Kokuyo muttered, surprised to only feel a minor amount of warmth on his back, seeing as he thought he was going to be burned alive. Your stupid technique failed miserably, Kokuyo happily told Naruto as he quickly got up and backed away from Naruto. He then pulled out another scroll and attempted to open it, only to suddenly feel as if there was fire in his veins. Gah! He grunted out as the scroll slipped from his grasp. And, you finally are feeling it, Naruto told him with the cold smile still on his face. Kokuyo then felt the burning sensation travel from his abdomen towards his hands rather quickly as it spread to the rest of his body much slower. What is this? What did you do? Kokuyo asked, horrified. Well, I just happened to have a supply of rather volatile chakra in my system. Course I have grown completely used to it, but anyone else would find it to burn like acid in their veins, Naruto told him as Kokuyo looked at him even more scared. Don't worry, in such a small amount this chakra won't kill you, it just will make your chakra coils feel as if they had boiling water in them, Naruto told the man walking towards him again. Kokuyo then tried to escape using a pre-made emergency escape product, only to yet again scream out in pain as his chakra traveled through him with enough pain to destroy his ability to control his chakra. Oh come on, it's not that bad with that amount to a trained ninja. Oh wait, you are just some deluded company owner who found chakra, Naruto told the man coldly, now standing in front of him. Now let this be a true lesson to you, don't ever mess with one of my loved ones, Naruto told him, then grabbed his collar and dragged him as he tried to escape. Where are you taking me? Kokuyo asked in fear. Well, I am not allowed to influence this fight, so I am taking you to someone that can, Naruto told him with a smirk. All I did was give you a husband's just punishment to someone who hurt his wife. I am sure that she will see the difference between the two, Naruto told him with a falsely kind smile. Right? Naruto asked, looking over at Tsuyoy with the smile still on his face. I completely understand, Naruto-san. Now, seeing as you have helped your wife like you promised, do you mind leaving Kokuyo-san with me? She asked with a sweet voice, but her face showed the true viciousness she slightly hid away. Lady, Naruto told her, throwing the man towards her. One of Tsuyoy's guard then quickly restrains the man. Course Kokuyo's company saw this even and knew that they stood no match to the kunoichi they were facing now that their trump card failed. So, they quickly tried to cut their losses and escape, but sadly for them they found the girls rather lacking of mercy at the moment. So, within only a couple of hours all of the attackers were either dead or captured. Well, now that all of the fun is over, we have some cleanup that needs to be done, Tsuyoy tells the Konoha group that stood in front of her. Lady Tsunade, do you mind if we postpone this wedding until tomorrow? I promise your group will receive the utmost care until then, she asked respectfully. Hey, don't worry Lady Tsuyoy, I completely understand and accept your offer. Now let's go get some booze, Tsunade says happily, already knowing that Tsuyoy liked the political conversations just as much as she did after spending some time with the woman. Gladly, Tsuyoy told her with a small smile as the two cages left with only their guards. Tsunade-sama, Shizune called out after recovering from her surprise of the talk, called out as she rushed to catch up to the older woman. Well, I guess we have some free time, Naruto told his girlfriends with a shrug. After all, he already offered to have his clones help with the repair only for the workers to refuse. As for Jiraiya, he seemed to all but vanish as soon as Tsunade began to walk away. I guess so, Ayame muttered, still a bit shell-shocked by the whole situation. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any fanfictions you would like to see on the channel, leave them in the comments, and have a great day.